You have like 10 views.
Oh, it probably will, but I don't give a fuck. I need to cover this shit anyway. But we officially hit
Really?
live, boys. Let me pull up the tubes and make sure we're not getting trolled again. Yo, say something, guys. The tubes.
What's up?
All
It's
right.
nice to see you
And make
guys
sure
again.
we're not getting trolled again. I'm gonna send out the bad signal if this shit works.
Got the stream on, so tell you if I hear anything.
Yo, say something, guys. The tubes.
What's up?
All
It's
right.
nice to see you guys again. Yep, it's working.
Yep. It looks like we finally got it, boys. Okay, sending out the bat signal. Holy cow. This has been such a fun experience to get this stream started, but welcome to the ultimate versus Battle Wiki meme of a stream. Let me live stream this in the Discord so y'all can
All
catch
these
up.
memes just for
Woo!
all these memes just for DC scaling. I'm sick.
The quality of this stream surpasses versus Battle Wiki scaling.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Am I right? That's the worst part. Is no matter how bad the stream is, we'd still be styling on versus Battle Wiki. And in case you guys couldn't tell, that's kind of what we're here to discuss today, man. Is versus Battle Wiki's wonderful interpretation of everything to do with DC. Okay. New version.
The greatness of this versus battle wiki.
All right, let me publish that shit. Okay, we coming back, boys. We coming back. Sorry for the troll last time. That shit was getting crazy. But we had to reset the stream. You guys already know why. I've got some homies with me here today. I've got Krimbus chilling over here. Krimbus, introduce yourself, man. You joined right at the end of that last bit. We didn't get to introduce you.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much, Lumos. I'm Krimbus. Nice to be here. Thanks.
Hell yeah, bro. Definitely check out his channel. His link is actually in the description. I put him in a lot of my videos. I mean, pretty much every one for a reason, man. The guy's a vast wealth of knowledge. Definitely go check him out. We also have channel homie Rock and Alice with us. He's an OG Theromax Corps member. Rock, hit us with it today, man.
We're going over the greatness that is versus battle wiki.
The greatness. That's a curious way to put it, to say the least. His link is actually. Yo, I want to make sure we are not missing.
Krimbus, nice to.
Yo, we got good audio on Krimbus too. That's god tier. Okay, and then of course we have another channel homie who promises he's going to drop some scaling content for me down the way on the presence. Yo, we have channel homie Wally.exe. Yo, hit him with it, bro.
Yeah, I'm in my LumosTheromax.exe here. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, what's up, everyone? I've promised to make content. Can't wait to disappoint you all when I don't post it. But
Yo, god tier. God tier. At least he's honest. You can't say
that,
he's not.
Yeah, other than that, nice to be here again.
Oh, and that's what we need. Let me load up the old. Oh, that is not what I wanted. Let me load up the old music in the background too, because if there's one thing I'm known for, it's synthwave. And just so you guys know, feel free to drop super chats or anything along those lines. Anything dropped in terms of a donation, your question will be answered by me and the homies here. So if you really want it to happen, sweet, feel free to ask questions, but I'm not guaranteeing we'll get to all of them because I know everything here is like a really hot button topic, and we're going to be discussing a lot down the way. So unless it's requested, chances are we're just going to be going down the wonderful list of things that have been bestowed before us here. And in case you guys can't see on screen, we have an entire table of contents worth of things to roll through, because today we're attacking this specific cosmological revision, or their thoughts on why it should be, starting with the wonderful end of this here, which is why they divide different cosmologies. This is something I've argued against for a long time. Separate canon theory is what I call it, though apparently the normie term for it in the modern age is cosmology split. So I think I want to tackle that first, and then I say we just fucking go ham. I say we hit everything down the way.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Let's make a start. We've got a lot to go through.
Yeah, dude, there's so much here, and it's so funny too, dude. Like, I've read a few of these in the past, and like each time, like the argument is worse than the last one. So I'm really curious to kind of scroll through this shit. I checked out the first like paragraph here, and I almost had a conniption. So this will be super fucking funny to do. Yo, Wally is quiet as fuck. Hold up, let me see if I can crank up Wally over here.
I literally checked, and I am not quiet, bro.
You're louder than me, Wally.
Oh, was he? Okay, never mind. I'll turn his ass back.
Or at least through Discord, he's louder than me.
Reported.
I'll give you the extra 10. But, so everyone here, I feel like has strong opinions. Okay, that's like one thing that I do kind of surround myself with is people with very strong opinions. But something I do value is people who can actually like argue for their opinions in a genuine way. And so everyone here may have different opinions in a variety of fields. I don't think everyone here agrees on everything, and that's cool. But I don't think anyone here agrees with like the idea of separate canon, which is exactly as this is titled, is why divide different cosmologies. Okay, we'll go into their arguments here in a minute, but what about you guys? How do you feel about that? Just as like a blanket statement, we'll go through everyone.
I'll go first. I'll just say, based on like the fact that they've literally got a cosmological structure, the metaverse that goes through like the evolution of DC cosmology as it changes with different crisis events. It seems quite ignorant to say, oh, it's just different cosmologies, when it's like just growing with time. It's the same thing, sort of thing. At least like that's sort of my view. It's not different. Like you can't split it. Like you got the characters not getting retconned over time and all that as well. Like, oh, there's so much. I think it's a very flawed thing what Versus Wiki are doing.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's fair. What about you, Wally?
I'll follow up. Yeah, nah. Like, matter of fact, to add on to Krimbus's point, there are like literally like 3 DC realms that like make this shit like actually like explained or like impossible. There's obviously like the metaverse. There's the collective unconscious, which in recent times like explored like creation myths like more in depth. Like there's different like iterations of like, oh, how did the multiverse start? But they're all just as true as one another. Like via the like Spectre skin.
Facts.
And then there's also Hypertime. Like,
well, they have
just ignoring that.
They have some memey ass shit for Hypertime, but we'll get to that, bro. Like their arguments for Hypertime are hilarious to me. But like we said, we'll get to that down the way.
Oh.
What about you, Rock? What are you repping in this argument?
So, obviously the points the guys brought up, but it's also the fact that like DC, the company itself, doesn't view it as separate cosmologies. So like you have the inverse where they don't view it as separate cosmologies, and then you have out of verse where like the company itself views it as one giant cosmology. So like you got to argue inverse and the out of verse, and it's like I can't think of a way you can argue that separate canon exists.
Oh, we're about to see how today. We're about to find out how you do that. Yo, like for real, man. I swear to God, this is a funny as fuck argument. I've never seen someone try so hard to make a bad argument. I don't understand how somebody feels that they can decide the canon for a verse more than the people who make the verse, whether it's the editors or the original creators, like the authors or whoever may be like directly responsible. That to me feels like really strange that you would go out of your way to do that. Like I don't understand why you would, genuinely. Like I don't understand it. But we're here to understand today the reasoning for arguably the biggest power scaling, I don't know, faction on the internet, or at least respected faction on the internet. So let's find out. Over the years, there has been a great deal of controversy regarding the statistics and power scaling of DC's cosmic entities. This due to various changes, continuity errors, and different interpretations of them that have been written by the various authors over the years. This problem was confounded by statements from Jim Lee and Dan DiDio that everything is canon. The problem we've been running into is that different writers often write independently of one another, adding new concepts to older ones, while ignoring or only somewhat acknowledging the works of other writers. This is not always the case, as some writers pay considerable attention to the works of certain authors, but even then, there are some degrees of independence. Regardless, the circumstances cause the following problems. Okay, so we're saying here that these things come from just having different writers. All right? Chain scaling issues, incongruent ratings, incompatibilities. Scott Snyder, James Tynion, Grant Morrison's cosmologies are not compatible. And we're going to go over all of these independently. DeMatteis and Grant Morrison's cosmologies are not compatible. No one's cosmologies are compatible. And that same thing again, and that same thing again.
Imagine if I said that, like, the same thing about Dragon Ball, but I was like, yeah, the Granola arc and, like, the Moro arc aren't canon to actual Dragon Ball Super because, like, Toyotaro is right.
Yeah, that's one of my foundational arguments against this. If you take like that same principle and you apply that to Marvel, how in the hell are they why is Marvel not suffering from this?
Yeah, like,
well,
we're not gonna talk about like Jam DeMatteis and like his like divine creator stuff. Like we gonna forget that?
Yeah, for some reason, DC is being held exclusively accountable to having differences in writers more so than other cosmologies, and that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why?
You'd also have to do the same for Boruto.
Yeah.
And Naruto. It has a different writer for most of it, so it's like I can't take that as the same versus Naruto now.
I mean, if you want the real extreme example, Versus Wiki doesn't do this with SCP, and they've probably got the most writers out of any
SCP! Yeah, seriously, like, are you for real? But they jerk that off like crazy. And to be fair, the SCP creatures, like a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are very inconsistent throughout all of their stories.
Yeah. They even have pages dedicated to different canons. You definitely should do this with SCP.
Like, how are you not doing that? But let's see why or how. Let's see why or how they've kind of come to this conclusion, okay? Chain scaling issues. Several characters have derived their statistics from complicated chains of power based on various distinct iterations of the cosmology that do not fit with one another, leading to ratings that do not fit with many of their storylines. What the fuck does that mean? Because they did something in the past that was considered impressive. In the new cosmology, you don't think that they can do that because there was a change in the cosmology? Like, if the cosmology got stronger, I agree with you. Like, that's fair. But I don't know if that leads to chain scaling. That's just what happened.
I think it's also yeah. In different storylines, you'll have like, oh, Superman punched out the World Forger, and then he has difficulty fighting Metallo later on.
I don't know.
I don't think that that's negative, because different things could be happening that day out of context, whether he's not as powerful anymore or whether the other dude is genuinely that powerful. There's ways to walk around that logic. I mean, if anything, it's consistent throughout all of DC's history for characters to only get more powerful, and obviously the villains have to rise to that. Sometimes things are inconsistent. I'm not going to deny that whenever there are separate writers, but to use one inconsistency as the ultimate lowball and saying this is how it is versus any of the higher end consistency seems very strange to me. Like, things can happen. There can be genuine changes inside verse. I don't think that's I don't think that that's even crazy. Like, too wild of a problem. Sometimes it is stupid that characters off panel get like these wildly powerful amps, and that can be silly to your point. But at the end of the day, you just have to say, bro, that dude didn't get nerfed if it wasn't stated he was nerfed, and this other guy is genuinely doing that. this guy is cracked, right? Like, I think they look at that and they don't like that narrative, so they just write it off. It's chain scaling issue.
It's interesting how they phrase it, because they got like, oh, does not fit with each other, does not fit with their storylines. Versus Wiki doesn't decide if it fits with their storyline.
Yeah, it's literally their story.
Not
like,
my
how do you say that?
scaling.
Wait, the incongruent ratings goes.
Yeah, read
over
that one.
this
Yeah,
even
read
more.
that one. Read that one, Wally. Go
Alright.
for it.
For example, many of the DC cosmic entities are rated tier 1, even 1A, even though these characters have never demonstrated a power level that high in any of their stories. Through scaling across different versions of the cosmology, they end up with a rating that is incongruent to their true power level as written.
Yo,
Like,
that's the
this
most
is
circular
like
logic
all-
I've ever heard.
I was about to say that. Like, yo, they
Yo.
don't. Like, yo, they're rated like tier 1, even though they've never demonstrated that power level before. Through scaling to the yo, they're affecting cosmological
fuck?
structures that are that tier, but they don't demonstrate a power level
Power on
tier.
that level.
And therefore it's incongruent.
Yes,
Incongruent with, yo, better question. What do they mean by their true power level as written? Like, what do they mean by that? Like,
What? Like, this whole thing is like, I swear to God, that moment from Idiocracy where they're talking about Brondo.
yeah.
And they're like, bro, it's Brondo, it's what you
The-
crave. Well, why do you crave it? Because it's electrolytes. Well, why do you crave electrolytes? Because it's in Brondo. Bro, this is that exact same argument
Dude.
in real time.
I think.
Yo,
Yeah, I
remember
think
that-
they're trying to say that like they never destroy most cosmic entities anyway. They never directly destroy like a 1A structure or whatever not. They just manipulate it, and it's just like, well, yeah, because why would they destroy a structure that they use for power?
Isn't the
Even if they could do it.
definition? Isn't the definition they can destroy or affect structures on a
yeah,
scale?
or create.
Or create,
Yeah,
yeah,
like-
or create. So like, no matter how you look at that, that doesn't make sense. And even if they haven't directly shown it, most people have an attachment to some other figure who has threatened a realm in the God sphere.
And wait a minute, this is just like ruining their own credibility. They're saying that they've tiered these DC cosmic entities at like tier 1 or even 1A, and they're acknowledging that they don't believe those characters are even
No,
at
no,
that
no, no,
level,
no.
and they're doing it anyway.
So what I think is happening here, to be fair to them, I think this was issued whenever that was not the case. So I think he's saying like right
okay,
now
yeah.
DC's cosmic entities are rated tier 1, even though even 1A, even though they never demonstrate. I think he's just saying they've never demonstrated those
Okay.
things with powers, even though they've been
Okay.
fighting other characters who have. Like that's what
Yeah.
triggers me is like characters who threaten a realm in the God sphere. Almost every individual realm in the God sphere has somebody who's done that, or the entire God sphere, or sometimes even the entire multiverse, or at least up to that, like up to the God sphere. Like, are you for real?
Wait. You don't even need to use like
Yeah.
a feat of like destroying something, because like how boom tubes work, they exist on that level. They take one step. That's a 1A feat, because that's just the level they exist at.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they could clearly interact with
Versus-
realms like that. Like I don't know, man.
Versus Battle Wiki, when you don't like take a feat. Versus Battle Wiki, when you don't take a feat of someone destroying a universe, call that shit multi-solar system and count it as an intellect feat.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, yo, Crimbus, you want to take this next
Losing their
one?
minds.
You wanna hit up incompatibilities?
Oh god, not incompatibilities. All right, incompatibilities. Different authors have written incomparable versions of the cosmology regarding different dimensions and higher realms in terms of how they are defined and fundamentally functioned. For example, in Grant Morrison's cosmology, the fifth dimension is clearly portrayed as a 5D realm, while in Scott Schneider's cosmology, the fifth dimension is a governing plane of existence / imagination that does not correlate with physics-based dimensions. Has it really ever been called like a 5D physics realm?
So what I will
It's
say,
called a mathematical realm once.
yeah, what I
Like,
will say
literally, yeah,
is in this specific
scan.
scan. Okay, so hear me out. I have my own interpretation to this that actually does rationalize everything. He says here that it's just bigger where I come from. right? And he says down here, most of me is standing in a room in a higher mathematical dimension. Okay, so I think some people conflate that they are in the 5th dimension that is like legitimately like where the like the Mr. Mixie comes from, like all the imps come from. He's just standing in a higher dimension in the Orrery of Worlds. He's just chilling. Like both of those two things can be true at the same time.
Makes more sense. Because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for him to communicate with people in the 3D realm.
I mean, not impossible for an imp, but if other people like Mr. Mixelpidlick are being killed and hurt, I don't think this dude would be hiding in that same realm. That seems kind of silly, doesn't it? Yeah. If Mixie's up in the 5th dimension, a realm where nobody can fucking go besides the strongest characters of the multiverse, like, I'm hiding somewhere else outside of that, in some small, lesser-known dimension. Like, that's all I'm saying. But, like, it is what it is, and once again, there can be outlier scans. I'm not even opposed to there being an outlier scan. But keep in mind, even if we take all of this as true, Scott Snyder himself said, I worked with Grant Morrison never to devalue, but only to expand what existed. So you can argue that it was lower, but Scott Snyder expanded it to be much larger. Like, even in that interpretation, you're just wrong. The multiverse just got larger in scope, size, and scale. Even though I don't agree with that original premise, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, just like steel manning it.
Yeah, like it wouldn't do anything, right? And even if this is true, this first one doesn't even make sense. Morrison treats the 5th dimension as a higher mathematical dimension, while Snyder views it as a plane of existence that touches every part of the multiverse. Even inside this, whatchamacallit, that was still true. Like, it still was everywhere inside the multiverse.
Yeah.
And even in that era, like, the 5th dimension, which apparently is within space and time, but is beyond space and time, yet somehow below the God Sphere, but they deleted the entire God Sphere, like, laughingly during World's Funniest. Like, what? Like, how do you make sense of all of that rolled into one? There's, like, 8 layers of shit that doesn't make sense there.
Yeah. I will say, their next point regarding, like, the monitors, I feel like is the only, like, fair, like, reasoning they give. The rest are, like, actually just retarded, though.
So, I argue a lot whenever it comes to, like, the ideas of, like, the stuff with Morrison. Because I will say there are some things... The reason why I don't like Morrison a lot as a writer is because that dude just gets high and starts writing shit, dude. He just starts, like, whiling. And it's a fun story, but sometimes that shit just does not click. And there's a few stories where that shit happens, and I think trying to make sense of everything with the monitors was almost an impossibility the way that Morrison kind of designed things.
Well,
Now,
we had a video going over the way he designed it for Final Crisis and how insanely difficult it is to figure it out.
Yeah, so like I think the way I view everything going on here, the monitors are thoughts of the monitor mind, the Overvoid, while in Snyder's stories they're splinters of Mar-Nova. I'll agree. There's a lot of shit with like the Overvoid and like the 6th dimension that is like super fucking suspect. And there is some level of a retcon that was there because we didn't consider it. The guy who wrote the specific comic in the 2018 run, I think it was Tinian, he specifies that they were all fragments of the original monitor. The only way you can kind of rectify that is say that all of that shit that occurred genuinely was just the 6th dimension, and the fractured mind of the monitor before he was reborn, since he was a fragment of the Overvoid, literally just thought he was the Overvoid. Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, the Overvoid itself looking at her multiverse being flawed and, like, shitting the bed at just looking at her multiverse, saying there's, like, nothing I can do to that and stuff. Like, that shit is so fucking weird for a structure as large as the Overvoid to, like, argue with. Like, I've never really understood that shit. Because that makes the Overvoid kind of look lame as fuck. Like, really lame.
Yeah. So, like, regarding the whole interpretation of like, whenever they state monitor in that run, I'm more inclined to believe they're referencing, like, Mar-Novu. But in the direct, like, panel where they reference the monitor mind, I don't think the statement they say is even all that like crazy or like super terrible. Like I think that's just like a misinterpretation of that page. Yo, like slight off topic, Lumos, make a video saying you don't understand like Final Crisis Superman. Like you don't understand like the Cosmic Armor Superman versus Mandrake fight.
Yo, that, you know, just like I did my who won the fight. Oh, yo, my Bat Who Laughs versus Golden Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yo, I need to do that same style of a video on that because you're right. Nobody fucking understands that run. Like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. No, I'm 100% on board. What's the next one here? In Morrison stories, the Monitor and Anti-Monitor were created by the Overvoid as the conflict generator, while in Snyder stories, they were created by Perpetua. Yeah, okay.
Yo, click on that first scan that they reference. Yo, in this,
what?
So it's saying that like the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor are born from the Overvoid, and they became like nothing states that they were born as the conflict generator. They turned into that.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
there's
the
nothing
opposite,
stating-
conflict generator.
Yeah.
And this is reinforced by Crisis shit, right? Is the Anti-Monitor is literally a force for Crisis, and Crises are
Yeah.
the ultimate story generators, like the ultimate
Yeah,
story
and
machine.
The
Like, think
Monitor,
about it.
yeah, and the Monitor was created to look out to prevent certain crises. And then in the fucking like new shit where they say, like, yo, literally the exact same origin. They were created from the
Overvoid,
by
yeah.
Perpetua, and then
It all links
like,
together.
They became the conflict generator once like Perpetua was sealed and like Anti-Monitor got triggered.
She gave a reason
all of,
for She gave a reason
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, like we
like,
just didn't
none
have
of
it
that is
explained.
contradictory.
Yeah,
like
like-
none of that is contradictory.
But they
in
just
any
say
way.
they didn't say the exact same thing, and it's like they didn't say the exact same thing. The second version just gives us context, because that's what
Yeah,
Grant Morrison
like-
never fucking did, was give us actual context to shit.
Yeah, nah. Like W logic. W logic.
Yeah, this is literally this one here.
Yeah.
Rent from the Overvoid into flesh. Like, bro,
Yo.
oh my
all
god.
that shout outs to the artist of the 2018 run.
Yeah, facts,
God.
dude. That shit is so god tier. Yo, and also I have a
Actually,
ton
that
of
issue-
people.
issue 22.
I have a ton of people chilling in chat. Why have you not liked and subscribed, homies? Come on now. Like and subscribe out there. We have a ton of y'all chilling. Give us some W's in chat for channel homies. Wally, Rockin' Alice, as well as Crimbus chilling, bros. Come on. You don't get a stream like this every day, let alone with everyone else. Ooh, hold up. Let me switch up the stream name to Ping Crimbus. That I just said.
Legend has it. Crimbus is a D1 versus Battle Wiki victimizer with his Type 4 multiverse scaling. That's just me though. That's what I heard. You know, that's what Legend has.
I think they were trying to revise their tiering system because of one of my videos. Oh, I hope that new tiering system never comes through because of that.
Yeah,
That was awful.
Yo, Crimbus acknowledges his own videos as terrible. I'm sick.
No, not my videos. Hey, wait with it.
Damn, I'm
Yeah, this
sick.
man's trolling.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it won't let
Am
me
I?
edit
No.
this shit. Come on now.
Yeah, can I move on to the next point? Or...
Yeah, keep going. I'm trying to fix something over here. So yeah, hit us with it.
So the next one is in Morrison stories, the Monitor Sphere is the thoughts of the Overvoid, while in Snyder stories, it was made from the current multiverse's, like from the multiverse's current structure. Yeah, where does it say that? First off, this is already wrong considering the Monitor Sphere didn't exist at this point in time. So like, honestly, I don't even think we should go further into this, like, since they debunked them, like, it's all, like, the entire premise is just already wrong.
This was all outside of what the Monitor was doing.
Yeah,
Like
this was
everything
on
they're
Mill,
describing.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hold on, did I misread that? Hold up, where was that? The thoughts of the Overvoid. Where does it say it's the thoughts of the Overvoid? It didn't say thoughts of the Overvoid ever. If it was the thoughts of the Overvoid was perfection. It didn't have a negative thought. It looked to this multiverse with negative crisis energies in it and said,
Oh,
yo,
matter
that
of
shit's
fact,
cracked.
Wait a minute. if the since the overvoid is like, the overvoid, right? The monitor sphere, if it's the thoughts of the monitor, of like the overvoid, would be everywhere throughout the overvoid, not just in some fucking
Yeah,
bubble
why this one
around
spot?
the multiverse.
Yo, that's
Yeah, and,
curious.
it's crazy. That's crazy how like it was Grant Morrison who made that map.
Yeah, right?
Damn.
That's my biggest argument all the time. Is like, do you guys believe Grant Morrison, or do you only believe Grant Morrison when it's convenient? That's always my argument against this stupid shit. Yo, this is so wrong. Okay, so the next one, it literally says it was made from the multiverse's current structure. The monitor sphere is never stated as thoughts of the overvoid.
Yeah.
Nor is the monitor sphere ever
Honestly-
referenced at that point in time. That's just not true.
Honestly, can we just skip this one? Like,
What the
like,
fuck?
They were wrong in the first sentence. Let's just like leave it at that.
Yo,
I think what happened here is you have something that this goes like a misconception. It just spread so far that they believed it and didn't even bother reading the scan.
yeah, seriously. Like, how do you believe that? Yo, Dematis and Grant
Yes.
Morrison's cosmologies aren't comparable because Dematis' stories, the entirety of existence was a part of a dream made by the divine presence. In Grant Morrison's stories, someone has drawn existence onto the monitor
that
mind against
scan.
its will.
Click
Yo,
that scan.
hold on.
What do they mean by
The
that?
entirety of existence is a part of a dream made by the divine presence. While in Morrison's stories, someone has drawn existence onto the monitor mind against its will. How are these contradictory? Here he says,
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know
they
how it got
They
there.
don't think presence and monitor mind
No,
are the
even-
same being.
Even if that's not true, all of existence would be the multiverse. They're saying, in Dematis' series, he made up the multiverse with the divine presence, right? At a low ball. While in
Yeah.
Morrison's stories, someone has drawn existence onto the monitor mind against its will. That someone would be the divine presence in that logic. That
Yeah.
it literally is self-contained, doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if that scan about it all being a dream is even referring to all of existence, because it's
Oh god.
talking about with Phantom Stranger to someone, and it looks more in line with what the Spectre was once saying with heaven and how each heaven is a dream.
Yo, I love whenever somebody quotes something and then they don't even post like what the quote is. They just link you the
Yeah.
entire fucking interview. That's how I know this was dog shit, bro. Chances are he's
Yeah.
saying, I based it on a concept like, and they think that's literal because that's a common like
Yeah.
argument with the modern mind, I swear to God. Let's look at this scan now.
Oh
In
yeah.
the
this is-
lifetimes, what do
yeah.
you questions that? Okay, this is a dream, and now running up the bed. It's a dream.
All of existence brought forth by God, bruh.
And existence, as far as the Phantom Stranger knows at this point in time, would literally only be the multiverse. He doesn't know shit past
Yeah.
like the source wall at this
The
point in
source
time.
wall.
Yeah, he's not even aware of the fucking sixth dimension. So like all of existence here would just be more proof that's in the multiverse. And unironic, like, dude, these arguments are so unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
I'm getting so
It may
much
not-
cancer right now. Holy fuck.
It may not even be like a literal statement, because he's trying to like get this guy's faith in the divine presence, saying, "Oh yes, he's the creator. You must believe it."
Yo, what is
Hold
this?
on. So the next one is actually like impressively stupid. Despite the similarities between
Oh,
the Overvoid
no!
and the Void Beyond Voids, Dematis had no idea what the Overvoid was when he was writing his Spectre stories.
What's the evidence? Let's see here.
Oh yeah, he's someone asks him like about the Overvoid, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck like the Overvoid is. Like either way, yo, the void beyond all voids is described as a void beyond creation. The Overvoid is described as a void beyond all creation.
Okay, hold on. He doesn't know what the Overvoid is because whenever he was writing all of this content, he just used the void.
Yeah.
The Overvoid did
Overvoid-
not exist when he was writing.
Yeah, the Overvoid is a retroactive like term for the void beyond all voids.
Yeah, like cosmic beings typically refer to the Overvoid as the void, and people inside the multiverse traditionally just still call it the void. Like, that's why
Yeah.
in the older content they only used void, because the only characters they knew that used that terminology that had been there or interacted with it were beings from that era, that when he was writing.
Yeah.
It's also like it's just a different name for the same place. It's
Yeah.
kind of like if you said the God Sphere and the Sphere of the Gods are two different things. They got different.
And
names.
we know cosmic characters use those words interchangeably, because in the 2018 run, World Forger calls it the Overvoid in one scan, and then the
void in the other.
the void in another. Yeah, like he literally
Even
uses
with
them
the
interchangeably.
Anti-Monitor.
The Anti-Monitor does the
Literally
same.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a separate canon theory, so they don't count. In between
Holy
comics, they were
shit.
in different canons.
Oh, dude, each one of these are worse. So, back to the point. Wally kind of touched up on it back towards the intro, and this is always my biggest argument, okay? This argument fucking murders people, dude. I'm telling you. I even, ahead of the fucking, ahead of the stream, I actually went and pulled this shit up just in case, okay? Dude, in the the 1992 Spectre run, it's the ultimate cockblock to all this stupid shit, because there are a lot of these kind of arguments for why these cosmologies are incompatible. Like the Scott Snyder, Tinya, Neil Gaiman, and Mike Carey cosmologies. Well, because different people created different things at different times in these, they cannot be compatible. Well, if you actually read fucking comic books and take some time to invest inside of, like, anything outside of one run and then relying on other people's individual interpretations of other runs, dude, in this specific run, we have the Spectre wandering around, okay? Wandering around to see, all the different cosmologies that exist, all right?
Yo, shoutouts to probably Sane. He said New York and the Big Apple are different cities, I guess.
Yeah, facts. They have different
Right.
names. Yeah, that's so fucking true. Holy shit.
Yo, W shit. W shit.
Shit, where was it? Okay, there we go. Oh my god, bro. That shit is so cancer. But, like, inside this run, man, we have them describe how all the different gods of the God Sphere have a different origin story for the creation of everything. But all of that's still canon, because everything comes from the source. Like, go read the 1992 run. This is literally issue number 58. You can go read that shit yourself. He goes throughout all the God Sphere, he flies into the fucking source wall and talks to the source at one point in time.
Yeah,
or the voice.
I think a good analogy would be like, let's say you're like looking at a rainbow and someone says, oh, like, orange is there, and then someone else says, oh yeah, blue is there. Like, they're not saying, like, they're not like contradicting each other. Like, all of those are true for like the first thing that they saw.
It's like I'll amp your analogy just a little bit. It's like if a bunch of people all saw a rainbow and everyone was colorblind of every color but one. Everybody looks up, utilizing the one thing they can witness with, their perceptions, right? Everything that they have in terms of perception. Everyone looked up to that rainbow and everyone saw one color. And each one of them said, but I saw this color. So that has to be the one true color that exists. And then that's the origin story for them to acknowledge. Because that creation level event was all the colors of the rainbow coming together to create the multiverse. But everyone's perceptions were limited to one aspect of it. But not understanding that is fucking horrible, bro. These people have to let that get driven through their heads.
And honestly, this would like further be...
Yo, go ahead, Wally.
Oh yeah, so like this would be further supported by like the idea of like all these beings have like a different like thing they govern in DC. Like some govern over magic, some over science, all that shit. It would make sense that they see shit through the lens of what they govern over, which is why it would be like it would appear different to them.
And this first one is like absolute dog shit. Perpetua made the DC multiverse with energies provided by the source, and Alpheus created the universes within it. While up here it says the presence created DC. If you watch the Scott Snyder interview, he explains that verbatim, like verbatim. Yeah. But we just don't use that here. Sorry, Rock. Go ahead.
Almost like there's a 6 billion year time skip between them.
Yeah, literally. But go ahead, Rock.
Yeah, it's like I just can't believe we're literally having a conversation about a freaking naming fallacy.
Yeah.
And these
It was,
guys
like,
have been doing this
real.
how long?
Real.
That's what triggers me is like these guys have been doing this how long? And they
They've
can't
been
come
doing this since,
together.
like 2010.
Yeah,
Bro,
like
I was like 3 when this shit was like around.
dude, like well, I don't understand. I have not been scaling DC that long. I've only been like I started reading in DC like hardcore about I don't know, maybe 2015, so like a decade or so. I didn't start actually scaling anything until like 2018, 2019. And I was very limited. I only got into cosmological stuff like 2020, 21, somewhere in there. Like,
Yeah,
and
I'm not
I've already
even,
got
like,
this shit. Like, are you for real?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not even a DC scaler. I scale Sonic and Spawn.
Get the fuck out of here.
I can't say that.
But I don't understand any of these justifications, any of these arguments. These feel like, well, I don't like it, and because it doesn't say the same thing, it can't be the same thing. That's like every one of these arguments rolled up into one. No level of
Fucking
genuine
real.
interaction. I wonder if they read
For
all
real.
these stories, or whether they read like one specific like story, and that's their entire perspective on existence. Like they don't read anything outside of whatever like they have their nose in. Like some of these people only read the Grant Morrison stuff because they like it and they think everything else is dog shit. Some of these people only read the Scott Snyder stuff and think everything else is dog shit. Like maybe that's the case. Like I don't know why they're doing this. But if this is your way to downplay DC, this is not the way to do it because it's just dishonest and dog shit.
But hey, shout outs to the person who made this. I couldn't write text blocks on shit that I enjoyed or unenjoyed for the life of me.
The worst part is they're so organized, and like you said, it's so good. Look how this is presented. This is awesome information and stuff. But they have no way to grapple with the information they're presenting to you. That's what frustrates me.
Yeah.
Is I look at this and it's like, dude, if you're not a potato, half of these are very easily explainable. I'll admit, there's like might be one or two that could be slightly annoying, but I still feel like I can give you canonical things that point you in the right direction far more than you can give me negative things that disprove it in any shape, way, or form.
Yeah.
Other than, it doesn't say the same thing. Void and overvoid
It's
are
like-
separate.
Yeah, it's like if you have 20 different points, I convince you of otherwise for 18 or 19 of them. Are you still gonna hold the opinion that like your nonsense regarding fucking like the last two that couldn't be like convinced of are still the majority? Because at that point you're arguing the
Nope.
outliers then.
Yeah, well, that's all they do is they argue outliers to make things seem lamer, right? That's what
Yeah.
triggers me more than anything. It's like if you did this to any other verse, dude, you would crush them, like you would destroy them. But we only do this to DC for some reason, which is so fucking triggering.
Yeah.
The dishonesty, bro.
Matter of fact, the characters that like, dude, whenever they reference like beings who like reference everything up to like Krona's origins, dude, they're literally bypassing a narrative layer between the different fucking like cosmologies from different writers. Dude, this is like crazy, bro. Like,
No, because this is a new, this is a brand new existence where everything that ever happened before it still exists there.
Dubs.
Like that's the counter argument. Like I don't fucking stand, dude. It's so frustrating to me to have this be how most people view DC. Whenever there's like, if you really mess with this, you know that this is laughable. But let's get into the details, boys. That was just, I think, the biggest argument that they have is separate canon theory. Well, I think that it's not the same, and thus it cannot be the same. That's the genuine argument that these guys have.
Yo, imagine going through a Google document, writing shit, and over time, you go to check like the different, like the version history, and you see a bunch of different version histories of like the same document from each time it was edited, and you said, yo, that version from like 2023, that's a different document. Like, what? Like, are you retarded? Like, it's the same document, just from like 2023.
I don't know, dude. Like I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what they're doing. Like they're like, oh my god, there's separate creation stories that line up, dude. And since there's separate creation stories that line up, they can't be compatible. Like god tier logic. I don't understand it. But let's get to this introduction, boys. And don't forget, like and subscribe, homies. Yo, this is a lot of effort to put on a W stream like this, especially pulling all the homies together. Don't forget, this is indeed a super chat stream. So if you guys have questions you want us to answer, guaranteed, post those bad boys. The second they show up on the stream, I will react to them. So definitely drop that bad boy. And let's see if we can get the likes to match the current viewers we currently have. But with no further ado, let's get into this introduction. Above is the multiversal map, created by Grant Morrison to establish a cohesive representation of the various realms and layers of DC's complex cosmology. It brought a much-needed sense of cohesion and visualization to what a previously very messy conglomerate of seemingly unrelated realms and cosmic beings. Okay, I can't even get past that. How in the fuck do you think that everything inside DC is a bunch of seemingly unrelated realms? Like, they didn't state there was a god sphere, but very clearly we pieced that together even before the map came. But it is what it is.
Yeah. If you ever read any Wonder Woman comics,
Wonder Woman or
they make it
Swamp
abundantly
Thing?
clear that Olympus. Yeah, like they make it abundantly clear, like the green, the Olympus is not in the same place as the rest of the universe.
Yeah, like it was all outside of time. Almost all those realms have statements of being outside of time, even in post-crisis. So like I've not a clue what's going on there. Despite this valiant effort, reality is much more complicated. Is it? DC Comics has been authored by hundreds of authors. Yeah, separate canon theory. That's this entire fucking paragraph. Holy shit. Several authors that have taken the helm regarding cosmology and canonized very distinct and incompatible versions in many realms and beings the way they're described. However, the standard of composite DC approach, fueled in part by DC publishers. Whoa, what the fuck? The standard composite DC approach, fueled in part by DC publishers. DC publishers, these same motherfuckers who have more authority than any individual writer, asserting that all stories were canon and allowed character profiles to benefit from amalgamation of these various cosmologies, resulting in tiers that were far removed from portrayals in any given storyline. Oh my god.
Are they arguing that DC, the company, doesn't have the right to say what the fuck is
they're
canon,
arguing the authors of the story have more rights to the story than the person who hired them to write the story. That's not how it works. DC Publishing owns this shit. Check my video that literally argues these fucking arguments, bro. This gives me so much cancer, man. Oh my god. The following sections will define main cosmologies of DC Comics, characterized primarily, not but exclusively, by their authorship. It's primarily intended to cover the most important realms and should not be taken as a completely exhaustive list of every minor realm that has ever appeared. This is something I actually do agree with. Like, don't expect someone who's covering big things like this to cover every fucking thing in creation, because there's just too much to do for any comprehensive. This is something I definitely understand.
Yeah. Your timeline video is a best example of it.
Yeah, like I can't put everything ever in the fucking history inside a timeline for someone. I could give you a very large comprehensive review, but everything is like borderline impossible.
That goes for the writers as well. They can't just write every single thing into a single story just to make it nice for scaling.
Facts.
Yo, imagine a scaler goes through so many comics, they make an adhesive like reference to every realm. Fucking like they even got the obscure shit, and then someone says, "No, you're wrong. You forgot the Deadlands. You forgot the Dark Garden. You forgot the Palace of Eternity. You forgot your mom, dog. Yeah, you don't know the gallery either." Like,
yeah, like it's just one of those things where I that just seems stupid to me. Like if your criticism is, "Oh my god, there's not enough on here," like that's fair. Unless you're doing something like I don't know, the greatest, most comprehensive guide to DC cosmology and all of existence, yeah, that would probably make you look like a real dumbass if you didn't include everything. But outside of that, if you're just posting something like, hey, this is like my interpretation of things, yeah, I definitely understand. Definitely understand it for the most part. I'm gonna get to that dono.
I like the ending.
Oh, speaking of which, it just popped up. Probably saying, slapping that bad boy for 10 solid, homies. He says, if they did this to Cthulhu mythos, they'd have 3 to 4 canons just for Lovecraft's original writing. Turns out cosmic entities and realms tend to be a little ambiguous. Yeah, like, no, they don't do this to anyone else. And that's the thing that triggers me, is I never get mad if somebody's a high ball scaler or if somebody's a low ball scaler. I get mad when people aren't consistent when applying those things, right? I don't make strong claims on random bullshit that I don't feel very confident about. I typically mess with DC because I'm very experienced in that field. Am I a master of everything in DC? No, and I'm probably not going to make crazy strong statements about shit that I don't have, like, insane knowledge of. But, like, that's the thing with most of these people. They do. Like, I mean, if you don't believe me, I think, like, half of this opening shit was this guy saying, yo, there's, like, 17 other people who helped me with this. Yeah, that did all the research. Yo, no. But yeah, definitely a dope donation up there, probably saying, I hope you're ready for more cancer, because you guys are delivering the radiation directly to my brain right now with this video. My God. Okay, boys.
Sorry about that, bruh.
Yo, does anybody want to take caveat number 1, dimensions?
Ooh. Nah, I'm not. I want to avoid that one. Oh no.
I mean, I'll go.
Rock now say he wanted to do it.
I'll do this shit all day. But like, if you guys want to jump in, feel free. So like, I don't want to be that guy if you guys don't want to jump in.
I heard Rock and Al say that he couldn't wait to describe this dimension section. That's just me though.
He says no. Fuck that shit.
I don't have.
Caveat.
Not currently at my house.
Caveat 1. Okay, dimensions. Within DC, the word dimension has been used a variety of ways to describe different things. It's been used to describe alternative universes, geometric and temporal dimensions, space and time, minor realms, higher layers of reality. It's critical to consider the context and evidence available for each specific instance of the word, ideally within the same storyline. And Scott Snyder's 6th dimension, the highest plane of reality, not a geometric dimension. The 6th dimension is the final realm, a plane beyond imagination. The 5th dimension is described as imagination. So,
Okay.
what is the argument? I don't even understand what they argue here.
Are they arguing the naming?
They're arguing that 5th dimension.
Dimension.
Yeah, 5th dimension has dimension in it, and 6th dimension has dimension in it. But
Yeah.
6th dimension is unimagination, and 5th dimension is imagination. So dimension could be used for whatever.
Yeah, they're just like providing examples of it like being used in like different ways, but that every example they use is them using it in the
exact same way, because it's just a higher dimension.
W logic.
Okay, but hold on, maybe there's more context. Maybe we're being unfair. Maybe we're being unfair. Okay, let's keep going. Also, please note that not even in the real world and in DC's cosmology, geometric spatial dimensions do not include time. The concept of 4D is entirely on context, often a shorthand method for writing 3 spatial 1 time. Temporal dimensions will be discussed separately in this article. Okay, there's like so much here, but they say they're gonna discuss them separately, so we'll come back to
But what
that,
happens?
boys.
Wait, what happens with that scan then when Mixie says the 5th dimension's imagination and the 4th dimension's time? Are they saying he's wrong?
It's entirely contextual, dude. That's what they're saying. You just, it's so contextual. You have to see later in the article.
Damn.
So, we're gonna get to that context later. We're gonna come back to the context of this in a minute, because I feel like we just got like fucking baited right here. We got baited so hard into actually discussing like what we wanted to in this caveat, but we didn't. So let's roll over to caveat 2. Multiverse, universe, world, and creation. Okay, I actually feel like we're gonna agree on a lot here, but these guys don't understand half of what is going on. So, but we'll. Oh god, and I see size of the universe. Holy shit. Let's just continue. Yeah. Anybody else want to keep popping, or you want me to keep rolling, boys?
I keep rolling, Lumos. I'd say.
Keep rolling, bro.
The caveat number 2. The terms above often have a variety of meanings. Context is key. The term multiverse doesn't necessarily mean the entire multiversity map, and universe doesn't necessarily refer to like a single physics-based space-time continuum. Okay, definitely based. I do agree with this, actually. The section will describe universes with the lowercase u when talking about individual universes within the orrery, such as Earth 1, Earth 2. DC's official stance is that each numbered Earth includes a universe itself, plus alternative timelines, plus alternative dimensions. The phrase DC Universe will be used to refer to the entire franchise's setting. So, okay, I'm actually, this is like low-key kind of based here, alright? I'm on board so far. The size, oh yeah,
Only find shit on here yet.
Yeah, okay, now we're about to hit what scares me. Size of a single universe. Universes in DC are far larger than observable universes of the real world. Okay, woo! We're based, okay, we're climbing, boys. While stories from the different continuities treat universe as infinite, this is contradicted by multiple stories about entities and items traveling from the edge of the universe or across the universe or from every corner of the universe. Not to mention the source wall is the limit of the universe. As such, a universe is finite in size. Oh God, no, no, God, no, no, no.
Don't they know that, like, even in physics they do say, like, even infinity can have an end?
No, yo,
nobody tell them about infinite recursion, bro.
Yo,
nobody tell them.
Yeah, no one tell them infinite.
Nobody tell them about the fact that the same source wall that's around the universe is around other infinite-sized structures that are outside and infinite, like God-sphere realms, that contain realms that are also infinite, an infinite amount of realms that are also infinite. But
I like how they say infinite has to be finite, when like it has to be finite 'cause it has an edge. Just like, well, let's count all the numbers between 1 and 2, and there's an infinite number of numbers in that gap, and it's also, you know, got an edge because you start at 1 and finish at 2.
He literally uses the multiversal map as a reference earlier, and in that multiversal map, it's around the God sphere. This is the dumbest logic I've ever seen.
Just like at face value, like, bro, there's more infinite size statements than like finite ones.
Like thousands. That's the thing, is there's like, yeah, I think 3 statements of finite sized universes, and to be fair, they're not even okay. No, that's the scans down here. Okay. That's just the scans down here. Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's like their way of showing like their reasoning for
Yo,
stuff.
he says, lol, 100 trillion light years, Superman flew one time. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Superman brought back Earth instantaneously. He calls this distance half the universe. But he could travel half of infinity. So, like, it's saying half of infinity is still infinity. Like, fuck.
So, in regards to the first scan, they're referencing, like, I don't know, I think Superman, like, travels half the universe, and he says that he traveled 10 trillion light years or something. Yeah, they go from Earth to Maximus Galaxy, which is, like, somewhere.
Does it actually say that galaxy is on the edge?
That's why I'm trying to, like...
I think there is something that said there.
Okay, you see, Maxima has a right to be angry. The destroyer of all things took this, her world, her civilization, her galaxy. In this role, the Great Supreme scheduled Earth. Superman, old friend, you have been fooled safe. I believe this. The end all be all to this alliance. Okay, maybe I missed it. Adopted. I brought you 100 trillion light years. I can't believe to understand that necessity. Is the second scan him saying that he was from there, or he was there when he traveled half the universe? Or is this just 2 unrelated scans from 2 unrelated authors about things, and they're like combining them together to make a double?
Ironically, them talking about different canons, and they're using 2 out of context statements.
They're using 2 out of context statements from 2 different points in time by 2 separate fucking authors to try and justify the size of a universe. Like, bro, holy shit, that's the most cope shit I've ever seen.
You got to like their last statement, right? Because the universe expands at 60 trillion light years in half a second. So that means it takes less than a second to expand to its full size, according to their first scan.
And all this means is that since then, like, the worst you could argue is the universe has gotten larger. Like, that's the worst you can argue. You're saying, like, hey, yo, there's all these changes to cosmology, that's why this shit is stupid. But, like, there's no possibility things just got bigger? even though we have characters, let's say for example in death metal saying everything inside DC is larger than it's ever been before. Like, did we just glance over that? Which in reference to them, in the prior story, they all had been made aware of every single thing that had ever happened in existence. Like, how did they not know that? How do you think they don't know about those cosmologies? And they're literally looking at a multiversal map talking about the current cosmology. How do they discount that? It's such a bullshit.
Alright.
Bro. I hate it.
Scroll down. I want to see my glorious king, Grant Morrison's
Oh
cosmology.
God. Oh no. Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh, since you're so excited, hit us with it, bro. Read this bad boy off.
I bet.
Hit us with your Grant Morrison scaling.
Take, bro, I am Grant Morrison in spirit. Grant Morrison's take on the DC cosmology draws upon various inspirations such as string and M theory. There's evidence of both in his comics and in a few interviews, which as the 52 brain universes embedded in the higher dimensional bulk, which are concepts drawn from such theories. These universes are all interconnected together by comic books that compile data from each reality of the local multiverse and are intimately linked to the inhabitants of Earth Prime, who use them to influence and develop all worlds of the multiverse. The reality fiction interaction below. Another concept Morrison included in his cosmology was hierarchical levels of increasingly archetypal existence until reaching the ultimate unity of monitor mind, which was inspired by the pure consciousness in Buddhism and the Kabbalah Ein Sof.
Oh God.
Bars.
Oh God.
Bars.
Dude, we're starting to use this argument. So something that I think we're gonna see a lot inside this entire thing, another thing I fucking hate, is because somebody was inspired by, and thus it must be the same. That shit triggers me, dude.
Bro, that entire paragraph I wrote out scales to extra boundless versal and a half, with 3/4 being like high hyperversal. Bro, W. Grant Morrison.
Dude, this shit triggers me so much. Because it's based on something, it has to be the same. Like, okay.
You're telling me? Wait, hey, you're telling me if I look at the Mona Lisa, get inspired, and I make something just like the Mona Lisa, but it's obviously shittier?
They scale equivocally. Yeah, if you sell that, you should get the same price for, like, if you sell the Mona Lisa.
It's true. That's the argument here. I was inspired by it, and thus it is. Like, that shit is so lame.
Yo, poor people, just, like, draw a Mona
Copy the Mona Lisa,
Lisa,
yeah.
good. Dude.
You gotta love that
on,
one
guys.
statement they got in this paragraph.
What
where
the
they
fuck?
go, these universes are all interconnected together by comic books. Like, yeah, you're reading a
Bro.
comic book.
Remember, like, I swear, remember the
No imagination.
The remember the idiocracy scene where they're in the court and, like, their first reason is like, dude, just look at him.
Just look
Like-
at him. That's literally what that feels, yo. Why is this man guilty? Bruh, just look at him, man.
Just look at him. He looks guilty.
Just look at him, man. That's literally what it is. Yo, how about it, Crimbus? Take this next one, bro. You seem hyped to jump in on the creation story, so let's see what you got.
True.
Alright, creation origins. Before creation, it was said that everything and nothing were the same. Ununified. Wait, no, is that I can't even read that word. Unified? What?
Yeah.
Unified. Oh,
I think that's
God,
what they meant. Yeah, I think that's what they meant.
I had a stroke reading this. In the immaculable perfection, known as the monitor mind, the overvoid. Monitor mind found within itself a microbial and infinitesimal flaw created by a separate entity. This flaw represents creation compared to the monitor mind, and the flaw contains complexities and contradictions, and the monitor mind makes a concept, known as the Orrery of Worlds, to contain it and protect it from the stories within it. It is important to note that, although the Orrery of Worlds refers to a physical structure surrounding the multiverse, the term Orrery of Worlds is often synonymous with the physical multiverse.
Yo, real quick.
That's an actual place.
Real quick
before
before we come back to this, yo, we just got another classic dono from the homie down low. Probably Sane asks, does this mean we can scale Percy Jackson to Myth Chronos? Yo, facts. Yo, we have Percy scaling to time inside Greek mythology.
Whoa. Yo, probably Sane. You're saying that you weren't doing that already? Whoa.
Why is this man in the core? Yo, eject the man from the core. He's not already scum scaling. Yeah, holy shit. Bro, this shit is low-key wild. That shit triggers me so much. That argument is just such dog shit in my opinion, man. I really do fucking hate that argument. But great comment from Probably Sane. So fucking true. And I'm sure they do that for a lot of other verses, but of course it's DC and we can't have that because it's DC, dude. Continuing off creation fucking origins. Oh fuck, I clicked on the wrong thing. Continuing back up with creation origins here. It says an imperceptible flaw is found in an immaculate perfection, and to define itself from the flaw, the perfection names itself Monitor Mind, the Overvoid, and bottles the flaw. Okay, so like, hold on. Oh, what the
Is this
hell,
just
bro?
like a statement of what the Monitor Mind does? It doesn't like. I don't see any bit here that's talking about any contradiction in the verse.
I don't.
It's just saying this is something that happened.
Yeah, it's just like an event.
The Overvoid looking at the flaw and like just containing it like casually is like the like last scene interaction between Lumos and his ex.
Facts.
The ex being the Overvoid.
No, the Great Darkness, but close.
I don't know.
Damn.
You know what I think
There's
is
no
funny?
ceiling in that. We're just stuck with her.
Yeah, my fault, bro. My fault.
Since the Overvoid, the Cosmic Raptor both perform the same feat of bottling sins, one with a wall, another one with a bottle, I'm gonna have to say they're the same person.
It's true.
Yeah.
True. Yo, Volthoom was in a bottle
Rocket
too.
Alice thinks he's this man Rocket Alice thinks he's me, bro.
Oh my
sick.
god. Reality fiction interactions. To hurt me, you'd have to get into the real world, and that's something you can never do. You can't get into my world, but I can get into yours. I can fake the real world here on the comic page. What do you mean? Where I am? I've been traveling for years. You haven't traveled anywhere. You're still here in your own comic, where you are every month. Many of Morrison's works examine the relationship between reality and fiction, sometimes metaphorically and other times literally. In Animal Man, the characters travel to comic book limbo, which contains the forgotten comic book characters who are no longer being written about. Animal Man meets himself, the writer, who appears as an avatar of Grant Morrison himself, and explains Animal Man's functionality to him, telling him that his own decisions, personality, and entire life are subject to the whims of the writers. The writer explains that the real world itself cannot be faked within the comic. Morrison talked about the simulation of the real world, which, with regard to Earth Prime, aka Earth 33, which is distinct from other universes due to fictive membranes. Due to the membrane, Earth 33 has a unique relationship with the multiverse in that all the stories take place throughout DC are literally written by fictional writers who live on Earth 33, and these stories dictate the reality of other worlds in the multiverse. Unlike other universes of the Ori, Earth 33 lacks superheroes except for one, who was a comic book unto itself, Ultra Comics, except for his dumbass was worthless and completely got negged in one story, the one story he fucking showed up. And now it's Prime, because Prime has his powers and is there. When the Monitor race died following... when the Monitor race died following Final Crisis... Yeah, but we don't talk about that other guy. We don't talk about that other guy because, dude, separate canon theory got him.
Yeah, as a Gentry,
well, I mean, don't forget they have a cosmic grid now.
Yo, as a Gentry,
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna kill you guys now for
yeah,
being
facts.
strict.
Facts.
Yeah.
When the Monitor,
Earth 33 also has the cosmic treadmill still.
Facts. Check my video on that shit, man. When the Monitor race died following Final Crisis, beings called the Gentry came to invade the multiverse in the vacuum left behind. And the Gentry turned out to be from Earth 33. What the fuck?
Wait, let's click on that link.
Bruh. This goofy scan.
Oh my god! Yo, they think... Oh my god. Yo, there's no content. Oh, I've got to look it up. I'm literally pulling up my Gentry scans right now. This is the most dishonest shit I've ever seen. Because even in this comic book, they don't agree with that. What the fuck?
Holy shit, they managed to completely piss off Lumos, bruh.
Bro, it's so bad. Hold on. It literally says they're extra multiversal. Let me find that scan. I know I have that shit.
Yeah, which would mean they come from a different multiverse.
Or somewhere outside of the multiverse at a bare minimum. And guess what? It's not... They didn't... Earth 33 is still inside the multiverse. You could fucking see it on the map. Oh, fuck. Where is it at?
I do hope they're not misinterpreting when it says Earth 33 is
Yeah,
as far as we can
because-
see, is where all of it comes from.
Okay,
Because
it's-
it then says in the
they got
bubble
trapped
next
in
to
his
it,
comic
this
book.
is where they all
Earth-
invaded from.
Earth 33 isn't a comic book. That's where they make the
Yeah.
comic books. They made that comic to trap the concept of the Gentry. That was the point of that comic book. How could you misinterpret this shit so bad? Oh, fuck. Where in the hell is the... I'm just gonna search the term real fast.
Is it like having a portal to a specific Earth in the multiverse, and then claiming that Earth's outside like the multiverse because someone from outside the multiverse got through, even though he's like, you know, portaling through, sort of thing?
Oh, it's,
You know, shoutouts to Cosmic Armor Superman for still outscaling the fictive membrane.
Oh my god, bro, I can't find the scam. I'm so triggered right now. Because I was trying to find the one
Which
exactly
scan is
from
it?
this era, where they literally called them extra multiversal. Or extra multiversal, like they were from outside.
Let me see. Hold on. I also have a Gentry section. You could also like look through that.
So like, obviously with the, because I'm trying to target specifically with their arguments, because they're going to say separate canon theory. Obviously utilizing content from this century, you can like find out that the Great Darkness literally inside that realm, because the Gentry were all formed inside Multiverse 2 while it was inside the Great Darkness. Like, they came from the Great Darkness. Clearly, if you look at anything past the era they're talking about. But it has to be Grant Morrison who wrote it, otherwise they're not going to believe it, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. Maybe it was just a guidebook statement that I'm thinking of.
Yo, Lumos, you want the scan where it says that when the monitors died, things from outside creation came in to fill the void?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I got you.
Outside of creation, you think the people talking in that fucking conversation legitimately mean, like,
I posted it in
outside
the
like a
group chat.
universe?
I slid it in the group chat. I got you, bro.
You gotta love the versus Battle Wiki actually stated this. They said when the monster mind died following the final crisis,
Things
beings
from
the Gentry
outside.
entered the multi- Yeah.
Yo, outside, he's referencing the monitor race.
Yeah.
This dude's aware of things up to the monitors during Final Crisis, which means at this point in time, if you believe the cosmology map is reflective of that, that's everything underneath the source wall. Literally everything under the source wall he is aware of. So if he says outside, he has to mean beyond the source wall. So like, that's just wrong. And that scan comes from that exact storyline, doesn't it? The multiversity shit?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That's
Because the artwork's the exact same. So they're not even right on that.
Lumos out here shitting on Versus Battle Wiki, saying, "Yo, Versus Battle Wiki isn't right." That's like, okay, low bar.
And like the worst
Black
part
Earth
is
isn't
like,
right either.
I just remember this shit. How in the fuck do I glance over comics and remember this shit? And these guys are like taking like 8 billion. Look how hard they
True.
work, dude. Look at how hard they're working to do so bad.
True.
Like,
Even
it
as
kills
an
me.
Umaneko scaler, even as an Umaneko scaler myself, I can see this shit.
Like,
I'm trolling.
Bro, like, crazy, bro. Crazy. Okay, let's see here. Oh, speaking of which, now we're starting to dig into the fun shit. Speaking of Monitor Sphere and beyond, now we'll start referencing everything from that, but only in a mechanic to
glorious
fucking...
King Superman.
Only in a way to downplay the verse, dude. Holy shit, here we go. Yo, in Final Crisis, Superman Beyond #2, Cosmic Armor Superman felt the breath of an overreaching presence beyond his comprehension, likely referring to the actual readers. Keep in mind why this is stupid as fuck. Okay? Hold up. Where is it? I know I got it right at the top. I just need to pull this up for fucking solid ass reference. Okay, I'm pulling up the multiversal map, boys. Okay, so keep in mind what this guy is saying. He feels an overreaching presence beyond his comprehension. Likely referring to the actual readers. Okay, I want you to consider what they set up here. Okay, or hold on, where was it? I want you to consider what they said here. And the words of Grant Morrison. Okay? The words of Grant Morrison were, the monitors showed up to him in the real world, kidnapped him, and he figured out the stories of the monitors, okay? They were above the real world, where he writes comic books, which would be Earth 33. Earth 33 is right fucking here. Nil, even in a low ball, is right fucking here. Earth 33 does not write the story of the monitors. That was a hyper story beyond anything inside the multiverse. So, how do you think they're referring to the readers inside the multiverse? Whenever they're so far beyond, in that comic they were literally stated in the fucking Overvoid.
Dude, Lumos, these characters actually just threaten the real reader.
Like, when they talk about going to Earth 33, the Flashes can go there because they can vibrate or attempt to vibrate there. They can do that. Like, a lot of them can't because that fictive membrane, to be fair, is jacked. Like, I'm not gonna say it's not. But, like, you still vibrate to get there. So it's in the Ori world. You're lying. You're lying if you think Earth 33 is somewhere out here. Or my bad, you're not lying. You're saying the guy who created this map and rectified all the lore you're talking about is wrong in the very map he created. So is like Grant Morrison stupid? That's the best way to combat against any of these Grant Morrison fans, is whenever they start using Grant Morrison as like the ultimate authority, yo, just rotate this shit back on them. And it's so funny to watch them panic because they genuinely can't do shit to counteract it.
If you click the link to breaking the fourth wall, instead of getting the scan of what they're referring to of Cosmic Armor Superman, it takes you to the wiki page with their definition of breaking the fourth wall. You would have thought
like
that
even in that interpretation, even if you take that interpretation, that's still dog shit. Because anybody can fucking do that in the multiverse. Everybody has fourth wall breaking skills. That's something Dr. Fate hands out like fucking candy.
Okay.
Nuclear and Batmite did
This
it.
is the whole like printing their own wiki article. It's giving "Have you seen my Death of the Author" video?
Yeah, like literally.
Yo, for those who know, okay.
Fuck. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. Like, that shit is just... That shit's whack, bro. I don't know what these guys are thinking. I don't know what they're... I don't know how they're repping, like, the things they're repping. In any shape, way, or form. As that being, like, viable. What? Man, I'm trying to be honest. Like, I'm trying to be genuine to what's going on here. I don't get it. I don't understand how you could be so biased and leave out so much shit and try to be like the W. Yo, Mr. Mixopidalic is doing this, and he's literally stated in the multiverse. The fucking fifth dimension is within the concepts of the multiverse.
The literal example.
All of this just upscales. All of this just upscales the fictive membrane. Shout out to Cosmic Armor Superman.
Dude, I have no idea how you defend these arguments. And I typically, like, I go really hard in my reviews and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I go really hard in my reviews and stuff. I'm promise I'm not a mean person. Everybody thinks I'm a really mean dude. Because I look at like somebody being blatantly misinformative and it triggers the fuck out of me. Because I'll admit, misinformation does trigger the fuck out of me. I think it should trigger anybody who's a comics fan. Because they're just intentionally kind of shitting on like an entire verse for the memes. Like, that's, dude, it's so bad. Hold on, we gotta continue though. I'm getting The brain damage I'm getting is affecting my ability to maintain myself inside this chat, boys. Holy fuck. The material realms. The material multiverse is the local multiverse. Okay, the material multiverse? Is there somewhere that really calls it the material multiverse, or is that like they're making that up? I'm okay if they are. Like that actually makes sense.
they're just making it up.
Okay, yeah, because never have I have heard that phrase.
Where's the immaterial multiverse? I want to
Well,
see
like,
that.
well, like logically, I think that makes sense. Hey, what's up, F2P, dude? I think that makes sense. Like, if I was to describe, it's funny because they're doing what Mr. Mixelpidalic did in a different way. Like, unironically, they're consolidating the multiverse map so they don't just say multiverse and mean everything in it. They're looking at things from a higher dimensional perspective. Because the immaterial multiverse would be like everything beyond space and time, right? Or like, I guess everything beyond space, the time included. And like, I'm okay if you want to break it up like that. That's for sure. I'm even okay using these phrases for it, but it's definitely nothing that's canon. Bro, they even referenced Destroyed Multiverse 2 right here. Because it's literally inside that run. Oh my god. Holy shit.
They're referencing this in like the literal Ori of World stuff.
Oh my god,
Yeah, they're
it's
trying
so
to say
much
Multiverse 2 is contained
is in the Ori of Worlds. Okay, the material multiverse is the local multiverse and contains 52 known universes. The universes are vibrating in the same space at different frequencies, in the dimensions and within the bleed. It also contains the Rock of Eternity and the House of Heroes, which exist outside of space and time. The multiverse is suspended within a multi-multiverse, with individual multiverses existing as bubble sets of grouped universes, with mention of a destroyed multiverse 2 by Empty Hand. This is likely an early conceptualization of the Omniverse. None of this makes any sense, unless they're going to say Omniverse is just the bleed. And that's true, but only as of death metal. Never was, or not that I remember, was the bleed referred to as an Omniverse.
Honestly, I'm seeing a curation of arguments here.
I fucking am too. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, Wally, as our local Flash expert, has Flash vibrated to a universe that's outside of the normal 52?
Yes. Plenty of times.
They just said these universes are all in the same group because they're vibrating at the same space at different frequencies.
So
meaning they should be able to go to different groups, according to this.
Like he definitely
he did.
can. Yeah, it has. Like at this point in time, so keep in mind we're separate canon theorying right now. At this point in time, the monitors had limited everything to 52 universes after the Hyperfly had like nuked all of creation. In terms of all the spaces and times that existed. It was like two of these things that happened simultaneously that caused this to be limited. It's not that there wasn't things past that, because clearly, even in the events of Multiversity, and even in the events of the New 52 later on, we see like things come from beyond that. The 53rd universe with all the animal universes and shit that show up. Like, clearly there were things past that, and clearly we have characters traveling past it, but to like flip over and say because there's a localized multiverse and the Gentry, which are stated to come outside of creation is never used synonymously with local multiverse, especially in a story about multiversity, the story where they gave us the entire multiversity map.
Yeah.
When he says creation, he's looking at a book that shows all of creation. The guidebook of creation in DC.
In Infinite Frontier, we see due to like the new Omniverse within the Bleed, there's like a new op that rolls up. His name is Brutus or some shit, and like he doesn't come from like the local multiverse. He comes from a like multiverse like separate entirely. And like Barry Allen just like runs there and like sends the like league there.
Even before that, JLA Avengers, he runs to fucking Marvel.
Yeah, true.
However you want to look at that, guess what, dude? That could lowball. He's running to another multiverse inside the Ori if you're like a Grant Morrison fanboy. Okay. Highball, guess what? He ran to another creation somewhere out in the greater Omniverse. Either way you look at it, he's going to another multiverse.
Yeah, in the Bleed, because the Overvoid with the bleed, remember?
Oh yeah, but only when it's convenient.
Sure.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Wonderworld. Wonderworld is an enormous primal world orbiting the utmost perimeter of time and space. In the map of the multiverse, Morrison describes Wonderworld as orbiting creation itself, and in his JLA run, it's stated that the fifth dimension is outside of the creation, which indicates that Wonderworld is at the utmost perimeter of 4D material world. What the fuck? Okay, Beyond Space and Time. Yeah, I've seen this one. What? Okay, here we are. I must have fucking memed out. Okay. There's no scan for this. And in his JLA run, it's stated that the fifth dimension is outside of creation. They don't have a statement.
Scroll up. Yeah, exactly the middle scan. Check that one. Yeah.
War brews in the fifth dimension and threatens to shatter the lesser cosmos.
No. Never mind. There is a scan from this same run that you're on that says like the fifth dimension's like from beyond creation. Like that is where that like meta comes from. Like
okay, so there like actually is one that oh wait, no, it says like it's outside of the multiverse, doesn't it? It doesn't say creation, it says multiverse, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh fuck, okay. Yo, if you could find that for me, I'd love to review it.
I bet.
Ooh.
I'll find it.
1 second, boys. 1 second, boys. We're gonna get back to this in just a sec. I got someone out front, I think.
Alright, yo, Krimbus, how are we gonna jack Lumos's stream? Come on.
Nah, who knows? It's impossible.
Everyone, 30 likes on stream, and I'll get Lumos's stream hacked. Trust.
There's only one like on stream currently. The one with the audio problem had more likes. You guys should be liking this video. Come on.
On this one, there's 22.
Oh, okay.
Refresh your shit.
Yeah, refreshing it.
The bleed, also known as bleed space, higher dimensional bulk, so it's like 3D. No, I'm just kidding. So, how's everyone in chat? No, what's everyone on about regarding chat? Oh, it's just Dragon Ball. No, they didn't put the bleed below the orrery of worlds. They're just going... Wait. Oh my god. Yo, Krimbus, look at my fucking live stream. They unironically have the bleed below the orrery of worlds.
Wait, how?
Yeah. Look at their placement. I didn't even notice it was brought up by F2P dude. He noticed it. They have the bleed space below the orrery.
Some of this is so disappointing.
So everyone in chat, these are the ops y'all go to for your scaling. Just remember that.
The reason why they believe that is they think the orrery of worlds is everything collected, including the bleed. They don't think it's the individual worlds.
Yeah, fish also think the entire planet resides within the pond they're in.
Excuse me.
Doesn't mean they're right.
The bleed space. The bleed, also called bleed space, is the higher dimensional bulk encompassing the brain universe's 4 siphons have been drilled into them from the monitor sphere to the orrery. Like, okay. To permit the harvest of miracle ultra menstrum, also known as the bleed, from the universes of the multiverse that the monitors refer to as germ worlds. The bleed is described as the substance of life. I mean, that's all true, but not sure. The orrery of worlds is a construct that encompasses the universes, the bleed both between around them, and the fifth dimension embedding them. Yeah, see, like I said, they fucking think it's all one thing. Originally created during the first contact with the Monitor Mind and the Overvoid, and a new creation grew within it. The Overworld contains 8 dimensions since it has 6-dimensional bottles and 8-dimensional mazes.
Man. I hope they don't later on say something along the lines of the 6th dimension is only mathematically 6D, because that means they scaled the Orion.
Yeah, there I fucking know they will down the way. Don't. Well, I don't know. We already have 6-dimensional bottles and 8-dimensional mazes here, so like there's no way they can say that. Because if they're acknowledging 8 dimensions, then.
Hey, I heard Rock say that he wanted to talk about the next section.
Fuck.
Oh god.
Okay,
All right.
I don't want to get into
I'll
the
leave you.
scaling. These guys can't even figure out what the fuck is happening inside DC. I don't want to get into the scaling specifically, guys, because like obviously we may even have like different opinions on like where things scale and shit. But like these guys can't even get like basic like feats right, or like basic things right. So that's what I'm here to fucking destroy, dude. Holy shit. But okay, go for it, Rock. Take us away.
All right, so we're starting with the Speed Force wall.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, the Speed Force Wall is an energy field that touches all parts of the material world. It is described as the speed of light and the limit of matter, which I already have a problem with, but we'll go on. Beyond this superluminal barrier, matter is converted into pure information, thus being the border between the material world and the archetypal worlds, where inhabitants are living thoughts and imagination.
Facts.
All of this is like fine.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, this scan here is like pretty straightforward. It's straight from the multiversal map about like the Speed Force wall. The speed of light is like the limit of matter. The only thing that I say is just keep in mind the speed of light inside DC is far more than it is in like the real world. Something I need to make a whole fucking video about that with fucking Wally at some point in time, because that's one of the biggest misconceptions in fucking DC.
The other like thing they reference is from Final Crisis, and like that's like the other scan. Yeah, Final Crisis.
It's like they only take things that they rep from that era for some reason. Oh,
I swear to God, they could like have every single scan like just hyperlinked, and I'll know which one they used.
Yeah, I'll admit they use some shit from like some obscure runs, but like
it's whatever.
It's 90% Final Crisis. Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying that like the Speed Force wall is a energy field, so I think they're talking about the actual Speed Force, and it's just like it doesn't just connect everything in the material universe.
Oh,
it
there's
connects
no fucking
everything
way.
Throughout DC.
I'm guessing you just scrolled down to the next section, Lumos.
Oh, no fucking way. This can't be real. Hold on, is this guy? There's no way it's actually this guy.
Have you clicked the link? The link is
maybe
to
it's,
YouTube video.
maybe it's not. That's fucking wild, boy. There's no way we just witnessed that. There's no way we just fucking witnessed that, boys. God, we're not even that deep in. We're not even that deep in, dude. That's what triggers me. We're not even that far in. God. Bro, okay, so I've got to talk about this one. This one's definitely me, boys. This one, I get so much cancer dealing with this one, okay? Hypertime. See, reality fiction interaction. Strange, we have Hypertime barely above where the Speed Force wall is, I might point out. But it is what it is. Hypertime is defined as a storytelling device that allows all DC stories from different authors to be a part of a single mega continuity. This is the evidence they have.
Hypertime, I should draw you a map on the back of a napkin. That's what Grant did, except Grant's the only guy who knows how to draw Hypertime on the back of a napkin. We were...
Yo, he drew it 2D. Damn.
We were in a cab ride in New York at a conference. It was him and me. Mark Miller was in the cab, and we were talking about how to do something special that made all continuity fluid and all stories.
Yo, you hear that?
were accurate.
Hypertime has all continuity.
Oh,
Damn.
they still had meaning. They still had
Yeah.
importance.
So, hey, that's really funny. I didn't catch that actually. Unironically, you're not wrong.
And they gave
but-
debunks their like continuity shit.
What the fuck? It does make all continuities canon. So like, even if you destroyed Hypertime in this era, everything that came before it would all be considered canon to this era, because it would all be in Hypertime. And this is their way of doing it. Which, to be fair, you know what? Yo, I'm excited, boys. I'm excited. I was proven wrong, and I've never been so happy to be proved wrong. Bro, they had a scan and it said what they wanted. We finally hit it, boys. That, like, actually, verbatim said what they wanted. It wasn't, like, taken out of context or used deceptively or just, like, a really basic fact. Bro, like, this... Yo, I'm proud. I'm proud. We're getting somewhere. They can actually cite their sources appropriately. Yo, W. Okay. Okay, hold up. Does he say by a three-dimensional interconnected web of timelines? I don't remember that. Oh, let's keep going.
Grant started sketching him, this big, giant thing that was railroad tracks and chasms and this and that. He was basically Grant was trying to draw a fourth-dimensional object in 3 dimensions.
Moving on to the next
Scaling?
one,
Scaling?
beyond, okay, what if superheroes were real? What if it was Watchmen? What if it was the Ultimates? And thinking, but they're not real, you know? No matter how hard you try and convince me that they could live in the real world, they can't. There are none. But the one place they are real is here, in this thing that you hold in your hand, this artifact. The superhero is real. That is a superhero. That's what it looks like in our world. It's the closest they can get to reality, unless they go on the screen. So
God, his
I'm
accent's
sort of
thick.
thinking about it as a real continuum. And DC obviously has the notion of the timeline. You know, it's like there's this real important. It starts in the beginning, and you can follow all the characters through. And there's caveman DC, and then there's Puritan DC, and then there's medieval, through to the present day, and on into the future with a legion of superheroes and DC 1 million, and then at the end of time they've got the linear men. So they have this notion that time is a line. So I thought, well, that's basic geometry.
Love his action.
If time is a line, then wouldn't that mean that there could be lots of lines on a plane? And so I drew this thing up on the back of a napkin to show to Matt Wade. And it was like a kind of
Napkin
junction,
upscales. Draw it on napkin.
a train junction with these lines, each of which represented different universes, meaning different
Wait.
comic books that contradicted.
This is Multiverse. This is not Hypertime he's talking about. This is the Multiverse, him creating the Multiverse. I've seen this interview.
He is talking about Hypertime.
Is
one
he?
another.
Yeah.
They could all run parallel. And
He's describing
sometimes they
Hypertime as like a
crossed over,
collection of
sometimes
different
the Batman
timelines.
didn't agree
Did he
with
use the word
Batman,
Hypertime?
agreed with him here and fed in
Yeah.
a little bit more. So, although Frank Miller's Dark Knight
We
didn't
mentioned
actually
timelines.
fit into canon,
Previous
Batman
person said
what it
Hypertime.
did was
Well,
feed some of its energy.
Well, I agree. It's just like stories or timelines, and Hypertime's just like a pan-dimensional box of all stories that exist, which
Yeah.
includes like higher dimensional shit.
Into the main Batman line to reinvigorate it.
Not 3D universes. I'm saying stories,
Diagram
like
of
much
the
more
whole
than
thing.
just 3D universes
And then
or
I thought,
time.
okay, if that's all the comics, and in fact, even on that line, you can have the Marvel comics line running along here, and sometimes even it crosses over.
Oh, it contains
with
Marvel
DC
comics, he just said.
threads.
Sure.
You've got this beautiful
Could
bubble
have.
of comic books.
That's another thing, dude, that triggers me, is people will use arguments like that where they're like, based in, or could, but it would be cool if, and people are like, dude, he said it, oh my god.
There's this two-dimensional plane with all these timelines running, crossing over one another. And then I thought, and obviously above that, taking the metaphor of the geometry higher, you would
The
have
metaphor!
time.
The metaphor!
And in
Lumos,
Goons,
you're
you
taking
have
that
people
hyper
like
literally.
us who
You're
they
bad.
look down on plane time, like,
This is so, let's take the metaphor of using geometry so you can understand this.
He
And
wants
people
it
think-
literal.
What? Oh my god.
from a
Kill me.
dimensional
Oh god,
perspective.
Morrison
So
looking
then
like
I
Neo.
think hypercube time, which would be the kind of entities I was talking to you about.
I'd say
from the
Professor
Captain
X.
Blue experience, looking down on our space-time as the same flat surface where they can see future, past, present simultaneously.
All he's saying here is this is based in. That's all he's saying. It's like I came up with these concepts because of these concepts. Because it's based in like smaller dimensional concepts doesn't mean they can't expand that idea to higher conceptualized ideas. That's what frustrates me with this.
Bro, this man talking like reminds me of whenever I'm wingmanning my homie to like a girl. Like the utmost glazing for my homies.
Bro, I can't do
This
this
is literally what
anymore.
it sounds like.
I can't do this anymore, bro. Oh my god, it's triggering the fuck out of me.
Yo, Crimbus, get SCP above DC now. It contains Marvel in like the orrery of worlds.
There's an SCP made by someone at a charity event, which is the combination
you
of all
told
Marvel
me. I know.
superheroes.
I know.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, you
God damn it.
actually sent me that. I actually keep it somewhere.
Hold up, where were we? The creation of the New 52 multiverse was merely the creation of new hypertime branches.
That is true.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's pretty straightforward. Because, I mean, it's all Manhattan manipulated for the most part.
Yeah, it says like the worlds from the New 52 came out of Hypertime.
Yeah, I pulled that up.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's also from the goated ass Justice League Incarnate number 4. Weird how suddenly that's a viable scan to use, even though it's separate continuity.
It's not because it's separate continuity. You just debunked yourself. Yeah, get banned.
You know, it's so great here. Versus BattleWiki said a perfect statement where it's one line and just saying exactly what the scan said. No bullshit,
my
like
God.
exactly that.
Morrison
Yo,
uses geometry as metaphors to describe hypertime. The first level of a singular timeline is usually called line time. The both is called plane time, which acts as a two-dimensional plane, all timelines intersecting. Even higher is cube time, which is supposed to be from our world, which is how the DCU's line times in a higher dimensional perspective appear as comic books, when those timelines can be freely navigated forward and backwards. None of that's true. They don't appear that way inside the comic books as a result of that. Those are just made inside Earth 33. The beings who exist across all of Hypertime, or even in the God Sphere, aren't connected to like Hypertime, depending at the point in time.
Lumos, I think a Versus BattleWiki, when they wrote that paragraph, forgot the fifth word in the paragraph, where they says geometry as metaphors.
Metaphors! Metaphors!
Literally the fifth word.
That's the only way we have to conceptualize things, is via concepts from space and time. Because we can, in the real world, not all of us are as high as fucking Grant Morrison, okay? We can't be throwing our brains into higher dimensions to perceive how to describe things that literally have realms that aren't describable. They're literally beyond imagination, even in his words.
I want to see a boxing match between Grant Morrison and like Stephen King.
Jesus, bro. Hypertime was a name Mark Waid gave to a concept of cosmic geometry I'd come up with. One bleary night in San Diego. Given that DC has a timeline, the idea oh, this is just literally what we said.
Yeah, it's literally just, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same
They're just quoting the video.
We all live in hypertime, in our three-dimensional level of hypertime, which can be seen as a cube time in relation to DC's timeline. We was him, including even in the real world. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand like the argument here. Is it because he based it on the concepts of, yo, they're using this scan to justify this scan? Because it's based on the concept of geometry, and then he goes on to continue that exact same concept. Well, like the only way we could relate to it is like our three-dimensional level of hypertime, or like our three-dimensional stories, which can be seen as cube time in relation. Bro, the worst part is like, I have to grant so much of this when none of this is like, you can't pull any scan of Hypertime claiming any of these things. Like, I can't reinforce that via comic book information. Other than it's a story box that contains stories. A pan-dimensional story box. Because, like, there's gods and shit inside those realms. It's not just like it's three-dimensional. Like, each one of them are, like, three-dimensional in nature. So, I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about here. The maps of space-time begin with the time point. Without duration or span, it contains all possibilities. True. Like simple geometry, the point extends to create a line called line time, a timeline of universe zero from beginning to end, aka vanishing point. But the timeline doesn't extend forward and backward, but also laterally. This is called plane time, be the plane of all time. The perpendicular time for a cube time is when all DC characters flip flat. Morrison also suggests the existence of Hypertime Cube, where higher dimensional beings watch us the same way as we see two-dimensional universe of comics, flat. He suggests that these beings to be five-dimensional, which coincide with the relationship with the fifth dimension and the third dimension, and how the fifth dimension encompasses Hypertime. I mean, the fifth dimension encompasses, like, everything here. This dude just said he freely moves through time and Hypertime. This doesn't mean that every single imp does, but I would imagine it wouldn't be too ridiculous considering. Well, I don't know. It depends on where you think Hypertime scales. Where you got Hypertime, Wally?
Like outside the Overvoid. No, I'm just kidding.
You know,
I think I honestly believe it changes. Like over the course of DC. Like as DC gets stronger, its placement changes. I think like for example, like back when, I think Hypertime was like at least a like a God Sphere tier like realm, sort of representing like their own like culmination of like meta time. A little bit later, like for example, like Metal, like it's seen as like somewhere like above that, as like considering like, oh, it's outside the multiverse according to like Cyborg, and like those connotations can mean certain things
depending on where you take it. I definitely don't think it's outside. I think it's one of those instances where he's referring as one of those dumb fucking writers who refers to like the Ori of Worlds. That's like the only thing that's like the only thing I could imagine to make that make sense. I agree. Depending on how you choose to interpret some of those contexts, you can have in a variety of places. But to say that like you think actual like temporal dimensions of like actual time exist above the God sphere feels very strange to me. Like there's different dimensional layers to Hypertime, and if you think that like the God sphere is like a fourth dimensional layer of Hypertime, like that's weird.
I'll say this. I will say, like, Hypertime's a special case where, like, the stuff it contains usually outscales its, like, placement in cosmology. Kind of like, you know, Superman lives on Earth doesn't mean, like, he's planetary. Like,
for sure, yeah.
But, I think in the current day, like, Hypertime is, like actually, like, disgusting now. Due to, like, the Divine Continuum shit.
I definitely think it's one of the higher-end structures inside the multiverse. But, like, I genuinely haven't, like, seen anything 100 that's, like, here's, like, 100% evidence outside of, let's argue, like, the highest potentiality for, like, this statement when we know this dude has used it, like, multiple times in ways that I don't think are applicably similar. But it is what it is.
Flashes, to be honest.
Yeah, because, like, if Hypertime does exist outside, like, the source wall or some shit, we've got, like, flashes in the like towards like the end of Rebirth, like running in and out of Hypertime, which should just be through the source wall.
Walter,
feels kind of weird to me.
Walter West. Bro,
yeah, Walter fucking West.
Alternate timeline, Wally West, GOAT.
And I ain't giving fucking Cyborg and the Flash like lame flashes. Fucking beyond source wall tier mobility, bro. That's
Walter
low-key
West
crazy.
is a god, okay? Walter West is a god.
Yo, where did the real Wally go, bro? Where did the real Wally go? I swear to God.
Yo, Lumos is a fraud, bro. Everyone unsubscribe.
Holy shit, man. Yo.
I can't believe this. We lost our Wally West fan and server. This is just
bro,
sad.
You are dick eating for no reason. That's crazy.
Yo, moving forward, the fifth dimension.
Can we just skip the fifth dimension? Can we just skip this one, please?
Yeah, this is another thing that I've gotta make like a whole video on. Well, no, they should think that these are separate because they have lead up here, right? Okay, so maybe they're not as suspect as I thought they were. Oh God, we have the fifth dimension below the God sphere.
Dubs.
Wait, you think that's bad? It's also below the Hypertime and below the Speed Force. If you keep going
What
up.
the fuck?
Because remember, they had Ori, Speed Force.
Well, like, Speed Force.
They said Hypertime.
Speed Force, like, at least they were smart enough to say the Speed Force wall was not the Speed Force. Like, I could understand the Speed Force, but there's literally no way you convince me that the fifth dimension is somehow below the metaphysical realms when Mixie has rolled up to them and entirely fucking flattened them. And
Dude,
the later on
like
stuff specifically say it's beyond everything below it, which is like the map.
Listen, that shit is like in the bleed though.
What the fuck, bro? I haven't even gotten to that shit. Holy fuck!
Remember in the first thing we read, where it said that like why the different cosmologies were incompatible. We're still reading the
still reasoning.
Morrison cosmology.
Oh my God!
And, you know, they said that like, oh yeah, Grant Morrison treats it as a geometrical dimension. This is why.
Bro, holy shit.
Oh.
Morrison usually treats the fifth dimension as physics-based. Although it has been defined as imagination, it could be a poetic statement about infinite possibilities allowed by minds in a story that dealt heavily with Batman's hallucinations and possible psychosis. What the fuck?
They're basically saying it's called imagination because Batman was tripping.
Bro.
Even though it's
I've
been
been saying
called
this shit
imagination
since day
for
one.
every time ever. Hold on, this is modern,
Bat
isn't
might-
it? Isn't this modern?
Bro, I don't know. That looks like a 2000s era
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh no, I was thinking like 2020. I'm open to being wrong. I don't read like a fuck ton of Batman, so I'm totally open to that.
Hey,
But-
all of this just proves my agenda. Niotic is screaming from this. Bro,
Look at this.
Batmite over Mixie.
Yo.
Batmite over Mixie, bro.
Yo, look at this shit.
Niotic is screaming right
Look at
now.
this shit, bro. Look at this shit. Now he tells me. So how about one straight answer? Are you really an alien imp? An alien hyper imp from the fifth dimension? Or just a figment of my imagination? Which means he thinks that the actual imps that he believes he's hallucinating here are from the fifth dimension. Or it could be imagination. He's not. How do you read this that way? It could be a poetic statement about the infinite possibilities. What does that even mean?
This Batman gotta be Niotic's favorite Batman, though.
He doesn't even call the fifth dimension imagination here. Nothing in this scan says he is imagination.
It does. Bottom of the page. Batmite says imagination is the fifth dimension.
No, like from Batman.
Oh,
Like
for
he
Batman.
doesn't make the claim.
To be fair though, Batmite never denies the claim that he didn't make. Therefore, it's right.
And even if
The
this
claim
were the
he
case,
didn't make.
even if this were the case, like, so, like, he's hallucinating, which means it's his subconscious putting these things out there, and his subconscious believes that it's the fifth dimension in the first place, and he's fucking Batman. He's smart. He's not some fucking idiot. Why are these? Yo, oh my God, we ran into the dipshit drip argument of knowledge claim.
bro.
They literally just knowledge claimed like Batman about things that he's interacted with a variety of times and has knowledge of. His best fucking friend is Superman, who constantly fights a fucking fifth dimensional imp.
This could be actually a lot worse, because if anything, this could be Batman who's hallucinating in general, seeing Batmite and asking, "Are you the fifth dimensional Batmite I know, or am I hallucinating you here right now?"
Yeah, no, that's
It could
that's
also
what
be that
happened.
context.
Yeah, that is the context. That's how I'm reading this.
Are you a fifth dimensional imp because you're Batmite, or are you Batmite because you're a fifth dimensional imp? Bro, shout outs to the JJK fans out there.
And like the worst part is like Batman consistently gets jumped, or not consistently. Batman gets jumped by a fifth dimensional imps and shit. And like even if he is hallucinating here, like it still makes sense that Batmite shows up to see Batman. That's literally in Batmite's character. You're arguing maybe he's hallucinating, but like, why are you using this scan to justify the fifth dimension when it doesn't even say what you think it does?
Yo, we got 30 people on stream. Everyone like and subscribe.
Facts. Facts. Like this fucking
Kristian
video.
Oh,
And don't forget, we
sure.
got super chats active, boys. If you wanted your question answered, drop this shit, bro. Drop that bad boy. All right, I've had enough cancer involving that. Oh no, I've got one more. Fuck it, I gotta keep fucking going. Holy shit! It's not clear if Batman. It's not clear if Batman or the Batmite was real or not inside the story Batman riff. Direct comparisons between the fifth dimension and other higher dimensional concepts were shown repeatedly in some of Morrison's stories, and even described as a higher mathematical dimension at one point in time. Same scan from earlier, later released. Sure enough. Not enough
point. At one point, they specify at one point.
Oh yeah, remember they got
You know,
multiple cannons, don't they? If they got multiple
Sure.
cannons, that means it only matters.
It's
if
funny.
that
They're like
one
arguing.
cannon.
They're arguing everything, all the downplay for the high end stuff, and all the high end stuff for anything Grant Morrison. I don't fucking understand it, dude. I really don't fucking understand it. Due to their existing
shout out
beyond.
Daniel Endless for getting the reference.
Hell yeah. He's an OG
think-
fucking power. He's an OG member of the court too.
These people must have been helped by the 2 members in your Legion of Doom.
My fucking rogues gallery? Probably. Due to existing beyond the 4th dimension, beings from the 5th can physically interact with time, and their attacks upon each other can accidentally damage many places in times in the lower dimensions. I mean, all of these are true.
There was nothing of note in there. Can we please skip this, bro? There was
Like-
nothing of note in that last paragraph.
You gotta love it. Let's just keep fucking moving, boys. Oh my god, the cancer I'm getting. The metaphysical realms, because the 5th dimension is not a metaphysical realm in their opinion. The sphere of gods is defined by Morrison, has a conceptual metaphysical quality to it. It is the home of archetypal powers and intelligences of the DC universe. It is a higher plane of existence than the Ori of worlds. Yo, conceptually beyond the 5th dimension, boys. Conceptually beyond the 5th dimension. Let's fucking go.
Wait, so are they not doing the realms in order anymore?
No, they
It's only
are.
just broke-
They believe all of these things are. They think the end of the Ori of Worlds is here, but then none of these things are inside or above it. So logically, there's an entire
Every single
realm
thing.
in between the Speed Force, the Ori of Worlds, and this. Yeah, the Ori of Worlds and the God Sphere, somewhere around the Speed Force wall. Somewhere around the Speed Force wall that, keep in mind, we have Grant Morrison forgetting about on the multiversal map. He forgot about that, and right here, guys, right here, this small area around the Speed Force wall, Grant Morrison forgot to put time. He forgot to put oh fuck, what else do we have here? The 5th dimension. He forgot to put Hypertime. You know, the guy who created all of these, or not created, the guy who utilizes all of these concepts within the very map that he tells you about, he forgot about them all. Or they just didn't exist anymore. Got him.
This is like Canman levels of like forgetfulness.
Bro, this is... I don't know if I would disservice Canman that much, bro. This is fucking crazy, bro. Holy shit. Sphere of God is not a part of the material world, i.e. Ori of Worlds. Sphere holds platonic archetypal realms inhabited by living ideas. Okay, at least we're getting this. The Sphere of Gods, as defined by Morrison, has a conceptual metaphysical quality. It's home to the archetypal powers and intelligences of the DC universe. It's a higher plane of existence than the Ori of Worlds. Okay, like there is no denying that, because we do have this scan, and on the multiversal map, somewhere over here, I think the God Sphere is even labeled as archetypal. So anybody saying like platonic archetypal gods don't scale above everything below, yo, you're just talking shit, because that's pretty much what's going on here. Like, to say anything else is...
Yeah, all of this just amounts to like massively faster than light, like MFTL plus like skill feat, like.
Okay, Death Battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, hold
Let's
on.
take that back.
Hold on. All of time exists below the God Sphere. All of time exists below the God Sphere in these guys' mind. But the limit to times and spaces is somehow...
There's the Speed Force wall. But-
No, Wonderworld, which is inside the Speed Force fucking wall on the map.
Bro, all our problems will be solved if we just like further develop the meta that just the Speed Force outscales everything else in DC. All our
Chill,
problems
okay.
will be like solved, bro.
Yo,
Y'all
chill,
notice
Wally.
that?
Jesus, Wally taking it up 10 steps. Yeah, fuck that shit, man. I do think the misconception that the fucking Speed Force is the Speed Force wall. Bro, I made a short on that and it got a bunch of views. I need to make a full fucking I need to make a full fucking video on that shit. Why the Speed Force? But then again, that just needs to be inside like the video about like time and the light speed not being literal the way it is in the real world. Like, holy fuck, dude. Fuck, I've got so much content I want to do in the future, I swear to God. God damn it, that's just the worst logic I think I've ever seen. Sorry, I'm still on that. New Genesis and Apocalypse, the worlds of the new gods are higher vibratory worlds above normal universes. They're said to be beyond space and time. Well, yeah, they are. They're not just said, they fucking are, which indicates they're outside of four-dimensional space-time continuums. such as
Well, Lumos,
Overworld.
I gave you the scans that they are. You have like 3 of them.
Yeah. I mean, I show you, but they're just gonna come up with random fucking excuses as to why they don't fucking work. That's what triggers the fuck out of me. Is you could show these guys all the fucking evidence in the world, but these dumb motherfuckers legitimately not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Also, why are they so specific on Apocalypse and New Genesis being like above 4D?
Because in their minds, the Apocalypse, it's just beyond space and time, but only the traditional standards of space and time, so 3 spatial, 1 temporal, and time exists below them, so they think it has to be that. Even though they think Hypertime is beyond the God Sphere in this. They think it's, or like it contains God Sphere gods or fractions of God Sphere gods, but that's somehow below the God Sphere. I don't fucking get
those
that,
are
bro.
just emanations, bro. Those are just emanations.
But no, what's confusing me is they've somehow got like the sphere of the gods above everything that they've said previously. So that includes the 5th dimension.
Yeah.
That includes eight-dimensional bottles, but they're hyping up it above 4D.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. None of their reference points for anything make any fucking logical sense once you like genuinely like have any level of analysis happening. It's like, dude, up here you're telling me that just like you said, there's higher dimensional concepts in the verse, but for some reason we don't reference that in terms of why the God Sphere is superior. We just reference that it only has 4 dimensions. Because at one point in time, the 4th dimension was stated as time. It's like, dude, there's like 8 layers of things wrong there. Why are you doing this?
Alright, Lumos, let's move on to the Godheads.
Oh my god, they're just oh Jesus Christ, and they're using real fucking space-time to justify their fucking concepts in a fictional verse. Which is applicable sometimes, but not always whenever they have better scaling. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm having a conniption, boys. Godhead, new gods. The Godhead new gods are multiversal singularities that manifest within the universe as emanations and avatars of their true forms. Concepts like past and futures are meaningless to the new gods as they just exist beyond linear time. They are living ideas and platonic from archetypal worlds. As such, Godhead new gods transcend the origin of worlds, which encompasses a 5D bleed. So they do think the monitor. So they do think the bleed and the 5th dimension are the same.
So what was the point of the 4D statement earlier?
What the fuck? And they're using 2 separate writers here.
Yeah, honestly, this just sounds like 7-dimensional experience beats. Not gonna lie.
Man, I'm kind of sad because we're doing separate canon right now that I can't bring up the fact that the challengers into the unknown have 10-dimensional technology at their disposal.
It's like they're picking and choosing statements that are good, but then they take from Morrison's era and like they try to make them better and downplay everyone else's shit. Like, if Scott Snyder is verbatim, they've referenced Scott Snyder's author statements before. How are they not utilizing all of them? They're only using them whenever it benefits them. He says he never meant to downplay. He never retconned anything from Grant Morrison. All he did was expand lore by adding things like the Dark Multiverse and like the 6th dimension. That's all he did. How are you going to try and say that he works directly hand in hand with Grant Morrison to write things as stated? And he's being faithful to his works, but you think he changed it, like the entire cosmology. It makes no fucking sense to me.
Lumos is hating on their god tier scaling.
Heaven and hell. These realms are beyond space and time like New Genesis and Apocalypse. It was stated that time isn't something that passes in heaven, but it is not beyond all dimensions of space-time, as Alan Scott was able to manipulate time in heaven, which indicates heaven clearly has a temporal dimension. There are countless personal heavens, hells, for every one soul in creation, though these realms are realms of thought described as not true places but states of mind. Okay, hold on. Where is him manipulating it?
so they don't have a link for it, but they've got the issue number, JLA Volume 130. They for some reason didn't link that scan. Which probably
Okay,
is
you
sus.
know what? Let's fucking go. We're gonna go find this dumb shit. Hold up, where were we? Oh, God damn it! It always takes me to reality fiction. Fuck, where were we? Reality fiction page is like fucking 800 years long. Okay, so we have. I can't show like obviously this whole comic, but I'm just gonna scroll to exactly where they're talking. Okay, JLA Volume 1, Issue 30, June 1999. Number 30.
They were absolutely correct. Most of the characters openly say they were wrong.
Let's just snag up this fucking comic real quick.
Yo, Rock, we can hear things.
Oh yeah, I got some background interference coming in from you. But so hold on, it was
Thanks.
okay, I'm gonna read this whole fucking comic, and if I come across it, we're gonna find out here. Okay, hold on. What's the claim even then? That
The claim
heaven
is-
has time in it. Alan Scott does
Yes.
something in time.
Yeah.
With time inside
He's
heaven.
able to manipulate time in heaven, therefore it has time. Or is
Okay,
bound
this is
by
the
time,
most ingenious, most evil prison I've ever seen. Okay, let me keep scrolling.
Also, wait a minute. Wouldn't that just be
Hold
hypertime?
up. Hold up. In their logic, that would just be hypertime. It doesn't make any sense. Here's the scan we're talking about, okay? Here's the scan. He says, stand back. The green flames will do what has to be done. 10,000 years went by in the time it took to Zoriel and me to return to the mountains. Okay, hold on. Maybe we're not there yet. It took Alan Scott what he thought was like 10,000 years in a realm with no time. Do you think that like Alan Scott like counted every day or something? Like humans can still put perceptions of time up. Yeah,
Maybe
I know.
there's
That's
a
what I'm
different
saying.
one.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe
Yeah.
I've scrolled. Maybe I haven't hit it in here yet. I haven't seen anything demonstrating manipulation of time there. Just him recognizing, like through his perceptions. Which keep in mind, he's immortal, traditionally bound by concepts like time, or like who gauges things based in time. If the realm is stated 8,000 times to not have time, even in this run, based on things that you've shown in this exact same comic. Why in the hell are you referencing this comic is, but bro, it's contradictory when it's all, this isn't even separate fucking time memes. Yeah, there's no manipulation of time in this. He just lied.
Damn.
Yeah, this is what it was. It was what I showed earlier. This is the misconception. Somebody who was fucking scan grabbing just saw this shit and took somebody else's word for it. He says, stand back. The green flame will do what has to be done. 10,000 years went by for the time it took Zoriel and me to return to the mountains. Yo, he didn't manipulate time. He's like, bro, let's fucking go. And he flew with Zoriel for what he perceived as 10,000 years to return from the mountains to get to where he needed to go.
Yo, this is great, dude. Versus Battle Wiki Quicksilver for speed, they said he had infinite speed when he ran so fast he became unstuck from time. But they said that was just infinite speed. Sorry.
Well, they don't even believe in inaccessible shit anymore. So like, okay,
No,
but yeah,
it's like still immeasurable speed.
or immeasurable. They don't even believe in anything beyond fucking space and time anymore, bro. The way they calculate things gives me fucking cancer. I swear to God, they're so
Yo, Lewis.
selectively fucking choosy.
Yo, Lewis, check the first image after that Alan Scott manipulated time.
That's
Literally says,
that's what I said.
Heaven
Yeah,
is beyond space and time.
like how are and this is a fucking an angel saying this, a guy who's existed here forever. He says, bro, it doesn't pass. And Alan Scott says, bro, like, it took me 10,000 years to travel here with you. That's just Alan Scott giving a reference. Because we have no way to understand incalculable, like, places outside of time. This is what triggers me about these people. They really don't understand it. They don't get that there are things beyond perceptions and the only way we can measure things that happen outside of that is by giving references to things inside space and time. Bro, this is so fucking cancer. Holy fuck. Okay, higher parts of the cosmology. Anybody want to take a swing at Grant Morrison, or do I continue?
Nah.
Isn't he your best friend?
So there are so many ways to actually get
I mean, I'm down. I'll keep going. I just don't want to be like hogging the whole stream. I don't want to be that guy to the homies.
I'll take my glorious king, Grant Morrison.
Go
Where do I
for it.
start?
Higher parts of cosmology. Go for it.
Alright.
Great light / great manifestation. The middle ground between reality and comic book limbo. It is the manifestation of the vast absence that lies behind reality. From there are the continuous process of creation and destruction take place. It differs from the Overvoid in that while Morrison views the Overvoid as the comic book page, the Great Light is likely the manifestation of the Overvoid as the Great Light, is directly referenced to as the comic book page as well.
Did they just say?
I just had a conniption reading that.
Did they just say the Overvoid and comic book limbo's like white space is the same thing?
Yeah, they think that.
Like indirectly,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they do think.
They said it's different, but then said all the reasons why it sounds the same.
Hold on. The fucking comic book page is not the Overvoid. That is a lie. I don't know where people get this shit, other than the fucking interview, where Grant Morrison says, I was inspired by the idea that the page could fight back against the heroes. Even in Multiversity, comic book pages are made inside Earth 33, which is inside the multiverse. Is Grant Morrison wrong about that?
Yep. No, he can't be wrong.
I don't understand. I don't understand what this is, bro. Like, what is... And they think... How do you have the Great Light below comic book limbo? Because the light is all stories? Oh my god, they think the Overvoid is just comic books.
Stop.
No.
Yo, does that mean the Overvoid is created by Earth 33?
Yup. Finally, you're fucking getting it now.
What the fuck is this, dude? What is this irrational fucking scaling?
Bro, I've been telling you this whole time, bro. The Overvoid is inside the bleed. Only the one in Final Crisis is the real one.
Dude, what is happening with this shit? Like, how are these guys must be as high as Grant Morrison, bro? Because that's the only way you're coming to these fucking...
sheer amount of mind hacks these people are doing on a Lumos, manipulating his emotions like this.
Yo, they have the light.
Dude.
They have the light itself. The Overvoid below comic book limbo in this debunk. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Grant Morrison doesn't even agree with this. Because the Overvoid was outside of limbo. In this story.
You are mad. Yo, can I get a Lumos is mad at, like, in chat?
Yo, what is this, bro? This is crazy. The last outpost of existence, comic book limbo. It exists nowhere, without time in a normal sense. What? What do you mean without time in a normal sense?
No, I remember because Heaven and Hell they got normal time, but comic book limbo now they
Why
got
is that?
better one.
What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, they got special time, bro.
It is the. Hold on. Their reference point does not say anything about it being unnormal time or anything. There's no references to time being inside of limbo because we're past time like 7 times over. No pun intended. The fuck? Okay. Continuing. There are no stories in limbo. That's true. Except in the Book of Infinite Pages, which contains all the stories of creation. Beings of comic book limbo look down on what goes on in the Great Light as a story to entertain. What the fuck?
It's just more Animal
Oh, it's
Man
Animal Man
that
shit.
They take out of context.
Yeah. None of this has to do with the great. None of this has to do with the Overvoid or the Presence.
I'm gonna have to go through that run eventually.
Same.
I did like ages ago, and it was like good stuff. Like I'm not gonna say it's bad scaling, but like, dude, it is. None of that shit is how I remember. None of that shit implies what they are claiming here. There are no stories in Limbo. That's true. The Book of Infinite Pages. That's true. Beings of comic book Limbo look down on what goes on in the Great Light as a story to entertain. That's not fucking true. We're talking like the Great Darkness at that point in time. Like that is just not the case. Because even in the Cosmic Armor Superman story, it was the Overvoid where that happened, and comic book Limbo is not the Overvoid. I don't understand how they think it's below it, even with Grant Morrison's situation.
They
We don't
literally
like that.
have to leave Limbo and go even higher.
Yeah.
They got a Limbo on Cosmic Armor Superman's, fingertip.
Beyond
but
him.
Also Limbo's the Overvoid outside.
Yeah, beyond him. And that's Grant Morrison who wrote that. That's not even... What does that even mean? The statement, the music is over, we've run out of the multiverse, doesn't mean that Limbo is outside of the whole creation. It only refers to the Ori of Worlds, because they use the ultimate tool for traveling between universes, which is a transdimensional yacht powered by sound vibrations, altering its pitch and wavelength, making it possible to travel to other universes, because each universe has a different frequency, i.e. the names being over means that Limbo is outside of all parallel universes in the Ori. Let's not mention the fact that those ships are monitor-level ships meant to travel the whole multiverse, not just the bleed. Let's just glance over all of that. But there is no time in Limbo.
What's the guide this time? No.
Okay, like, that's somewhat... This isn't how I would justify that, but okay, like, alright. I mean, it's literally like 2 realms outside of time. You could just say that, like, but, it is what it is. Even if you want to take this, that's fair, but weren't you just arguing? Oh no, because I said time ends somewhere. Okay, yeah, okay. That's at least logically consistent, even though it's fucking stupid. Oh, time in this context doesn't refer to the concept of time, since the monitor sphere is above Limbo, has a time.
It's just all higher and higher levels of time. Hypertime 2.0.
There's no time in Limbo. Time in this context doesn't refer to the concept of time, since the monitor sphere above Limbo has a time.
Real.
Okay, my bad. Maybe I missed the scan about there being concepts like time inside the monitor sphere. Let's see their monitor sphere scaling. The highest dimension of the multiverse, standing at the very edge of art and of the mind of God, and thus the endpoint of the aforementioned hierarchical and archetypal existence, where form and meaning start to surrender to the Overvoid. Space, time, scale are more meaningful and profound with time in the monitor sphere, referring to the clockwork pattern into the sky. Time seems to function as a temporal dimension, because when it entered the monitor sphere, it forms beginnings and ends. Comic book Limbo is only an infinitesimal disk incomparable to the monitor sphere. Okay, so I need a second.
They got something up with their time scaling.
Okay, so
Facts.
the realm before it says time doesn't even exist here. This realm has a person from a dimension who Mr. Mixelpidlick goes on to say, the way you puny life forms understand existence, there's 4 dimensions. All of the spatial ones and time. Okay? We have scans of infinite dimensions. I don't understand how you would simultaneously post that, look here to nil, a place that transcends even those realms, and say there must be time there, and as a result, everywhere below where it's stated there is no time. when somebody is only looking at it and trying to perceive it in the only ways they have possible? How else does he define those things? Space and time don't exist anywhere in that same capacity. Like, even God sphere realms are beyond space and time. How do you justify? That's so fucking lame that they're literally beings who are chilling in the Overvoid, a place where there are no concepts that exist anymore. Like, it's the most foundational place you could come from. A place before where times and spaces exist. And you think it's somehow on that level. Bro, this is fucking next generation.
I would literally.
I don't understand. I don't understand. He says time refers to the sky. What in here says time refers to the sky? There's a circle back here with lines coming from it?
Wait, Lewis, you could also, what was it? You could say that the whole argument is based on a clock that seems to pass like over time, sort of thing. Just argue the clock's like irrelevant speed or immeasurable speed, you know.
Like, I swear to God, that's what they do. That's versus Battle Wiki, though. Is they literally have the argument nothing can be beyond all concepts of space and time. Everything is space and time. We don't have anything beyond that. Because versus battles are hard when comparing verses to one another, because people don't have the balls to take solid positions on whether a verse, just because they're outside of space and time, whether you believe that makes them a concept in terms of scale, or whether that just makes them beyond whatever like spatial dimensions you can prove, or like temporal dimensions you can prove. If they just were ballsy and took an actual position one way or the other, I wouldn't. Instead, they tried to do the whole, we're just going to make this easy because it's hard. And we don't want to take a strong stance, so we're just going to make it easy for everyone. They took like the death battle approach, bro. And it kills me, bro. I hate that shit, bro. So much. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh, does he really say that there? Yo, at one point in time, they literally say they're traveling through it to get back. Yo, probably sane. Dropping another Fire 5. Yo, did I miss that bad boy? I don't think I got that bad boy on my chat. Hold up. Sometimes my Streamlabs resets, and I gotta reset this bad boy. Bear with me. I'm gonna pull that up real fast. Probably sane. Probably sane says, there is no stupidity in this blog. This is not a concept, not the concept of stupidity, as long as this blog has a lot of stupidities. Yo, facts. Probably saying fucking killing it in the donations, man. Holy fuck. Yo, consider it, boys. Keep dropping the donos. It only gets better, all right? I promise. We're like, what, halfway? No, we're not even halfway done with this shit. Give me cancer. I tell you what, the longer those donos come, the longer this stream goes. Because, like, if not, I might have to break this up into a separate stream, bro. There's so much toxicity and cancer in this one thread alone that, like, I'm about to fucking die. So I might have to separate this out. So let me know down low what you want to do. What's up?
Remember, I was gonna say a heads up. So there's like a few more sections on different cosmology aspects. Then they'll go into Snyder and restart the whole cosmology scaling, going back to the multiverse.
Weren't they using shit randomly from newer content in this throughout this?
Yes. If you have a quick like gaze down where it says Snyder content, you'll see straight away Creation Origins, Orrery of Worlds, Hypertime. They're repeating
what the
stuff.
Fuck? They use dimensions from other whatchamacallits to like argue their dimension. What the fuck?
Yeah, other writers and cosmological aspects.
Jesus, boys, holy fuck. Okay, yeah, we go straight to the. All right, well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's. Wait, how the hell did we wind up on this? Okay, monitor sphere governing planes. Yo, they do continue inside of things that aren't Grant Morrison's.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Okay.
They're trying to literally redefine cosmologies for different writers.
Yo, this is y'all's favorite YouTuber getting folded by Versus Battle Wiki.
Hold on, so like... Oh wait, no, that I knew. I thought they were doing it all in one for a second. I was like, what the hell?
Everyone in chat, this is y'all's god that y'all look up to, bruh.
Okay,
All
hold
of it
on.
by versus.
So to recap, hold on. To recap Grant Morrison's shit from the beginning. The multiverse, according to Grant Morrison, has a pattern of elevating levels of existence, which become increasing archetypal. First, the orrery of worlds, which inhabitants are made of matter and operate within physical space and time. The sphere of gods, which is home to living ideas, operate on metaphysical level, even though they're bound by time. A limbo, which even lacks stories since it's a void where the forgotten characters do as Oreo end up. Finally, we have Nil, which oversees everything below it. Nil is as close as reasonably possible before achieving the pure absolute nothing oneness of the Overvoid. Therefore, the monitor sphere is part of the void, which coincides with the monitor's nanotechnology coming out of the void to attack comic book limbo. I don't understand. I don't understand how any of that makes limbo. Like, they literally say metaphysical, bro. Like, I'm getting so much cancer. Okay. Source Wall, Promethean Galaxy. The Source Wall surrounds the entire DC multiverse, separating it from the Overvoid. It exists in all universe realms and dimensions. In Countdown, when contradicted in Final Crisis in many ways, it said that the Source Wall separates several universes. However, it does not. They even say that Grant Morrison's own shit doesn't agree with their own shit. Because these guys never spent the time to argue against fucking source wall elimination theory. They never genuinely like engaged with why there were source walls in individual universes. Holy shit.
W.
This is going to be Death of the New Gods. Oh no, the end of it. Yeah. Yeah, they even say they moved it there from before. This is not new information. Nil did not have a source wall around it during Final Crisis. This is because the source wall was destroyed in Death of the New Gods, which is a lead-up comic to Final Crisis. Grant Morrison affirmed that the elements of Final Crisis were intentionally written to match the events of Death of the New Gods in this interview. Darkseid is falling through the universe after the events we experienced in Death of the New Gods. True. Jim Starlin created Orion's death scene in Death of the New Gods #6, which led into War God's final appearance in #1. So Jim's scenes were referred to back. So what they're arguing is that it's doesn't fit with the rest of it inside his own cosmology, even though he worked hand in hand with him intentionally in Final Crisis to match the elements of Death of the New Gods. How are you holding even Grant Morrison's own cosmology to separate canon theory? You're literally picking and choosing what you don't like because you don't think it fits. That's the most dishonest shit I've ever seen. What the fuck? And hold on. The Source Wall / Promethean Galaxy. The Promethean Galaxy, was that referenced before the events of the 2018 run as where the Source Wall is located everywhere? Definitely not during this era, because the Source Wall wasn't in the Promethean Galaxy. The Promethean Galaxy is the concept of where we see it on the Source Wall later on, after everything is recreated. So, like, I don't even know what they're trying to say here. And this is reinforced by the multiversal map later on, because it says it's the limit to thought. Do you think the limit to thought is universal in scale?
The limit of the thought of versus Battle Wiki is.
It sounds like it, bro. This is horrible. This is dog shit. Okay, hold on. We have the Great Light manifestation as below comic book limbo. Even though they said, the Monitor Mind said that our multiverse was created by something else, and that something else was the Great Light. So shouldn't he be beyond comic book limbo? What the
Nuh-uh.
Bro, what is even the logic here? The Monitor Mind, the Overvoid, and the Presence. The Monitor Mind, the Overvoid, is inconceivably massive abstract consciousness, the infinite white void of nothingness that encompasses everything on the multiversity map, standing behind the crumbling ledge of the source wall, wherein the thought of itself ceases to be. It is the complete unity that contains all contradictions and is devoid of any definition whatsoever, with all existence being a flaw amidst its perfection. Okay, I mean, most of that I agree with. Grant Morrison sees the Monitor Mind, the Overvoid, Jack Kirby's source, and God as the exact same entity. This was shown in the Multiversity map, which labeled this white space outside of everything as the source, as well as the Overvoid. However, Morrison's JLA story clearly portrays the presence as a separate entity, and therefore the term God in this context does not refer to the presence, but to the supreme or ultimate reality. God, dude, there's so many arguments I've got to work on down the way for like the Overvoid, the presence, having created everything. There's so much I've got to do in terms of content because like I could argue with this shit all fucking day, but like I don't think I'd argue well. I have to create like a very cohesive argument to hit every nail on the head. I feel like because this shit is just so dense and so deep, like so dense and so deep. Jesus Christ, dude. Morrison does see them all as one entity, but we're not going to agree with that because one other time we think it was written differently, even though we think that Grant Morrison is the ultimate authority on everything here. What the fuck does that mean, bro? How do you simultaneously jerk off Grant Morrison, but then say he's an idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about, especially whenever he hires people to write stories for him and works with them to create them? That's so dishonest, bro. I swear to God.
That's real as fuck.
Grant Morrison has stated in the interview that someone had drawn the flaw Monitor Mind, the Overvoid. During his Animal Man storyline, an avatar of himself is shown in limbo, capable of manipulating this plane of reality and below. Animal Man was not manipulating the Overvoid at any point in time, just limbo. Okay, yeah, he says limbo.
No.
He refers to himself as
not.
demiurgic power. Okay, I'll admit, if that's capital D, same references towards like Michael's power, yo, and they have something to rep that could be interesting. I don't think that's the case. He describes all of DC as a world created by a committee. To hurt Grant, Animal Man would have to get to the real world, and that's something he can never do. He can't get into Grant's world, but Grant can get into Animal Man's. Grant can fake the real world on the comic page. Grant had influence over the Doom Patrol at the time. Grant informs Animal Man that his next writer will make him do anything as well. None of that is like... None of that says beyond the source wall to me. I don't understand where the logic is there. Because during the events of Animal Man, that's post-crisis, while we had, source walls both stated in the God sphere and around individual worlds. So actually no, this is like 90s, so this isn't even that. There wouldn't even be ones around individual worlds. There's just the OG source wall, which surrounds everything. So like that doesn't even make sense why they would think it's beyond that. Because if you retrograde anything from Grant Morrison backwards and you think that map is legitimate, guess what? The source wall still would have surrounded everything there. Like he wouldn't have been in the Overvoid, so that doesn't make any sense either. He'd probably just be another writer trolling from Earth 33 at best. But I don't know. I'll revisit that sometime soon. Maybe I'll make a video on it. And considering out of stories itself, because it finds itself inside its own gigantic white space, self-absorbed, pristine consciousness, it finds a little stain or mark this DC universe someone has drawn. Okay, yeah, someone. The Overvoid didn't know who drew it, okay? It's just chilling out there. We know the answer to that later on. It's the source. It's even hinted to at the fucking multiverse map, as you said above. Here, the word drawn from Morrison's IG interview in his context is in quotes, which means that his claim is a metaphor used to mean that someone has created the flaw. When the Monitor Mind found the flaw, it made concept to contain the flaw, and in Morrison's Newsarama interview, he stated that the concept was the Ori of Worlds. Okay, that's true. From this multiversity run, we know that the Ori of Worlds contains the material world and a fifth dimension. What the fuck, bro? It does not... The Ori of Worlds does not contain, like the fifth dimension. It doesn't. Fuck. It's like layers upon layers of misinformation all loaded into one.
I'm very confusing where they're going with this. Aren't they meant to be like talking about the Overvoid here? Why are you bring up the Overvoid at all? Where are they going?
Because he thinks that later on the material world in the fifth dimension is the Ori of Worlds. He thinks that the fifth dimension's inside the Ori. That's fucking insane, dude. Like I do not understand that. I understand people saying like the bleed and the fifth dimension might be the same. I don't agree with that, but I can understand like lol, they look the same because they both talk about blood and red things. And both have to do with like imagination as a concept. But just because similar doesn't mean the same. the life entity is the concept of life itself in verse. There's nothing contradicting that, except for the fact the life force from Aquaman represents a similar concept. Guess what? They can represent similar concepts. There's nothing end of the fucking like multiverse, right? I don't understand why that means they would scale equivocally. Like, you have to prove they scale equivocally, and there's nothing they have proving that. In Morrison's JLA runs, it was heavily implied the creator of the material world is the presence. But guess what? We're not going to talk about that because that doesn't fit in with the rest of Morrison's cosmology. How in the fuck do you possibly say this is true, but then simultaneously back up down here and say, but no, that can't be? I don't understand what's happening here. Clearly the presence is the guy who created this shit. The presence isn't stated outside on that map. And this came out before the map. That's more evidence the source and the presence are the same being. Which, oh wait, you said that shit up here. Or where was that quote? Yeah, right here. They even quoted this shit. So like, you can believe Grant Morrison or you can believe the people who don't believe everything that Grant Morrison says.
Man.
I have no idea.
Their tiering is very interesting. They give it tier 1A based on surpassing the concepts of space and time. I want to know at what point did they surpass the concept of space and time? They kept denying it.
Well, like, the frustrating thing is they say in nil, where, like, you step off, like, everything ends, all concepts end at limbo. But there's concepts in nil outside of limbo. And it's like, wait a minute. According to that story, the Monitor Mind created them as concepts to look into the material world from outside of the existence. They had to make machine avatars to move inside of existence. They were designed on that level. They're considered masters of the Overvoid. They have technology that moves through the Overvoid, as these guys posted in their own fucking cosmology thread. But they think that those concepts exist there. And even if they do, that's irrelevant because they have technology that allows them to do everything inside nil, inside the Overvoid, based on statements they gave. There's so much there that doesn't make any sense and contradicts one another. Fuck, dude. And was that just Grant's cosmology? It's funny because they spent like the entire time arguing all of this shit. Oh, I guess they started at Universe. They think all of them are the exact same up to Universe?
No idea.
And that's where it stops?
By the way, one last thing in Grant Morrison's cosmology, the second tiering thing, it says the presence has the full control of the 11D cosmology. When in the entire topic have we said 11-dimensional once, been reading through this whole thing?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Oh, M theory. Because he based it on concepts like M theory. That's where that comes from. They just weren't smart enough to like actually like specify that. And they'll completely deny the fact that there's super string theory, and then like what the fuck is it? They have string theory and super string theory. They're also referenced in those time frames as well. But we're just not going to reference like any of those concepts.
It's amazing they've got 11th dimensional as well, because it's 10 spatial ones and 1 temporal, so it's actually 10 by their definition.
And that's funny because they didn't talk about any of those other dimensions at any point in time. That's what pisses me off. It's like, they said, hey, yo, M theory has all this shit, but even though M theory has all that shit, there's just 5 dimensions inside the Ori world. What the fuck? Like, oh, and despite the fact we also have scans for 9th dimensional constructs being contained there.
It makes no sense.
Bro, what the fuck, man? Holy shit. Holy shit.
Is that also not a bit of a jump to have the presence at 11D and then the next thing after with the Monitor Mind and Overvoid straight up like outer?
Yeah. But you know what? The funny part is these guys will say that DC doesn't have like that scaling.
Oh.
But anybody who scales to a God sphere, like a God sphere realm, or has fought somebody who scales to a God sphere realm, those guys would by definition have to be like jacked. Because the 5th dimension, even 9 dimensions, in their eyes, 11 dimensions would have to take place inside. Well, no, because they said the entire map. Yo, we have confirmation that there's 9 dimensions inside the Ori of Worlds. They think there's 2 past that? That wouldn't even make sense. Because the Speed Force wall is past that. The Speed Force is past that. The God Sphere is past that. Limbo is past that. The Monitor Sphere is past that. The Source Wall is past that. Even in just his run. Not to mention it. Their own reasoning doesn't make any sense. In any shape, way, or form. These guys couldn't even scale one cosmology for DC correctly based on the shit that happens inside that time frame. How the fuck am I trusting these guys to scale more than one if that's the case?
Jesus.
What the fuck?
Folded. Lumos out here getting folded like a wet napkin.
Yo, Jesus Christ. This is just a blog. Maybe this has changed, because I'm pretty sure this is the big change. Like, a lot of people use this justification back in, like, 2022 to change things. Maybe there's been another one since, and maybe it gets better. But, dude, this is, like, fucking cancer in terms of scaling. How do you scale something like this so dishonestly and be considered relevant in the community? Bro, this is low-key wild. You know, I might give a little bit of gruff to like Versus stats and profiles wiki. I might give them a little gruff because I disagree with some things that occur inside their page. But I think they're like way better. Like way better than anything you'll find on fucking Versus Battle Wiki. Their analysis to grapple with things triggers me into oblivion, bro. Because none of this is even cohesive. Well, you know what? We are gonna do that. You know what, bro? Jesus, boys. Yo, I tell you what, we're gonna have to hold off the rest of this shit for another stream before my fucking head explodes. So I tell you what, me and the homies are gonna hang out for just a few more minutes. Yo, any questions you guys got, we're gonna answer them now. What was some of your favorite moments on the stream? What was some of the dumbest shit you heard inside this video? And anything you say will kind of help me find exactly where it's at in the conversation. I'll use that for like my highlights reel as like a video or something down the way. So hit us with the memes, boys. Like I said, we're guaranteed to read that shit if it's a super chat. So let's go fucking hard, boys. Jesus, man, I am just like mind blown. I knew this was gonna be dog shit, but bro, this was like, dude, this was fucking downright shit.
I would say it could be worse, but I'm struggling to think how.
Man, bro, I don't know if it could be if I'm being real, man. This shit was impressively bad. Like, this shit was, like, impressively bad in terms of how it was displayed. And, like, I've got my own rogues gallery of dipshits who try to attack me all the time, whether it's in the real world or whether it's in the fucking comment section. These dudes are so fucking vocal, but, like, this is the best they have. Yo, go read Crisis Events, and chances are you'll be more read up on comic books than 99% of the people who make debunks. It's crazy. Yeah, F2P dude says putting the Ori above the 5th dimension and bleed was like the funniest part of the stream. That's so fucking canon, dude. Imagine that's the dog shit we're working with. Holy fuck. What about you guys, huh? What do you think was the memes of the stream?
Ooh.
Yes.
He says the whole stream. For some reason, it's not letting me edit my fucking title for the video right now. So, like, that's kind of rip. But, I'm gonna edit this shit down the way. And it's just gonna be, Versus Battle Wiki's Grant Morrison interpretations, in quotes.
Damn.
Which are just cringe.
They're pretty fucking cringe, dude. Holy fuck. Jesus, man. I don't understand it.
So, are we gonna have to get you the monitors, Lumos, so they can cure your cancer?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to. You know how like anytime you go to switch jobs, like all the fucking drug heads are like, dude, I gotta go like deprogram myself from all these fucking drugs before I get my next job, so I can fucking pass my goddamn piss test. That's what I gotta do,
Lumos
bro.
out
I gotta go
here.
on a detox. I gotta go detox this fucking filth from my fucking
Yeah.
system. Maybe I'll do some hell divers, bro. I gotta rep Super Earth to bring my faith back in humanity. I think that's what I've gotta fucking do.
This man literally became Mentor Felix.
Facts, bro. Jesus Christ. Dude, I'm like fucking dying from this stream, dude. This was horrible. Imagine this being the best you have, though. Is like trying to rev Grant Morrison's cosmology and you failed to do it. You unironically tripped and fell and hit the rake 7 times. Stabbed yourself on another rake, and then that rake flipped up and stabbed you too, or it swacked you in the face too. Bro, this was impressive.
Real.
And honestly, dude, I know everybody hypes up Grant Morrison. I've got a really hot take on him, and I'll admit, most of the time I'm not very hard on like Grant Morrison stories, but Grant Morrison is like one of the worst writers of all time, in my opinion. Consistently. His writing is always just fucking wacky and crazy and bad, in my opinion. He just kind of throws shit at the wall and sees what happens. And that shit stopped with Snyder, and he actually started working with everything and explained, I think, a lot of the dumb shit from the Morrison time frame, and actually made it better. Like, it made it genuinely better and more powerful. So, like, I don't understand how people don't rep that.
Well, that's one reason. Like, if I had to have someone in DC write stuff, I'd probably pick Snyder, because like he takes the time to like be pretty clear on most things he brings up in
He's
his
like
runs.
Johns. He's like Johns. He does a fuck ton of reading before he does his stories. And you can tell. He even works with Grant Morrison and other big name writers to make sure his stories are cohesive and all have like a similar message that he wants to push out. Dude, that is like the defining factor of a great cosmology. Whenever you have one guy at the helm and he's working with a variety of other writers, all of which everything is cohesive, and they explain all the flaws of everything that came before in ways that make sense.
Yeah, it's what we want in freaking writers. Just be clear and concise with stuff. Like, don't be too mysterious with stuff, because like with Morrison, like he's pretty obscure with stuff. Like he doesn't like, this is this, this is that. It's like, no, I'll give you. You can possibly interpret it this way. You can possibly interpret it this way. It's like, bro, just be straight with me.
Bro,
Yeah, I think Morrison's like specialty is introducing something brand new, but then he can't do much with it. He has to like go to another brand new thing, while someone like Snyder would get something, his brand new concept, and bring it into the rest of the cosmology in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, a way that works. That's why I really like, even though it does cause some problems, which is fair, I really like the idea of Tinian and his, where they consolidate like all the monitors from Final Crisis as like an OG member of the monitor. To me, that's such genius writing, and explains a lot to do with the monitors, why they weren't so powerful. Like, that's the thing, is like with Grant Morrison, right? Like, or Jeff Johns even, the way he explained why Hal Jordan went mad made Hal Jordan going mad fucking awesome. And it sucked originally. It's one of the most hated comic book lines in all of history. I know, I did a fucking community post, and all my Green Lantern fans, especially the OG ones, they all said Emerald Twilight, because there was no reason for Hal Jordan to go mad, and it was dog shit. He just went crazy one day. And that makes sense. I understand that perspective. Like, that was bad writing. I think rectifying that bad writing with better writing is great. But other people think rectifying. Notice how I didn't say retconning. Rectifying. Adding more context to explain what genuinely happened can make a story infinitely better than when it was in the first place, when it was dog shit. Maybe that's just me, though.
Yeah,
fuck.
it's just you. You're retarded. Anyway.
Chill, dude.
No, I'm just kidding.
But like, Jesus, man, I'm just thoroughly impressed and let down. I guess more so than anything by this blog, man. That is pretty unfortunate, is all I'm gonna say. Jesus, man. But who knows? Maybe next time we'll dive into that shit, dude. Holy fuck. This was like a fucking experience, man. But I guess that's gonna be it. Any final words from anybody? I'm not getting no donos rapping, so I guess if that's the case, man, I'll ask you for you guys your final comments, final opinions. I can sit here and bitch about how dog shit this was for all of eternity. So
I hope, like we've pointed out enough times to everybody here, just like how terrible the versus battle and how inconsistent they are with their take on DC.
facts. What about you, Crimbus?
like-
What you ripping?
I reckon that we've been here for nearly 3 hours, and honestly, going through it all, it's quite ridiculous of what some of the things they were saying, and also it's quite enjoyable to sort of poke fun at them and look at how easily something can be fixed. Because you can imagine, probably in like less time than this, like reviews happen, all of us in this call could have made a better one.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like I've attempted to start just cataloging fucking everything, but like I think cataloging things actually works as a negative because I catalog things and everybody just starts trying to disseminate and differentiate everything within it to even debunk the value of everything cohesively, even though their statement saying everything is cohesive. That's what frustrates me is even if we did spend the time to do that, we'd never convince these guys of foundational premises like separate canon theory or source wall elimination theory or like the fifth dimension being inside the orrery of fucking worlds. Like, bro, we are on some shit. We are on some shit if we think that. And even if you do believe that, even if you do believe that was the case at some point in time, everything is connected. And later on, we have statements of it being beyond any of that. The worst you could say is things just got that much larger. That's it. There's no, it's not that way anymore. It literally is that way because everything now contains then. Even your scans say that. Like, dude, fuck. I'm getting so triggered. But I don't know. What about you, Wally? What you repping? Jesus.
I don't know. Everybody read World's Finest. Don't read Flash. Not much else I can say. Current Flash is ass. At least the run. Pretty much.
Got him.
Much it. All I can share to the people.
Well, boys, looks like that was it. Thanks for hanging out, for everybody chilling in chat. And I guess, no further ado, we'll catch you next time, Lanterns. Later.